giving his welcome address.
Good evening, members. I am happy to be part of this day's program. This is the first webinar I am speaking to the members as a chairman of SIRC of ICAI. I seek the fullest cooperation from you all for conducting the activities of the SIRC throughout 23-24. And I am very happy to announce that this is a 3-day virtual CPE series on bank branch audit audits for from today, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Every day it starts at 5 and it culminates at 8 p.m. It's only a beginning. It's only to warm up all the forgotten things to gear up ourselves to do the bank branch audits. And today we have erudite speaker, very senior resource person of our SIRC, CA Sundarajan sir, to speak on audit documentation audit program. So a very warm welcome to you, Sundarajan sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation for the day's deliberation. And tomorrow, that is 3rd, it is on LFAR, Iraq norms and recent circulars and notifications. And the resource person is CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju. And on 4th, that is a Saturday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. again, the topic is bank audit using Excel, verification of advances and audit documentation. And the resource person is CA Vivek Krishna Govind. So with this, we are opening up this season's bank branch audit series of 9 CPE hours. This is in total 9 CPE hours, and we will be taking up many more physical programs also as far as possible, and also during the course of audit, that is at the end of March or in the first week of April itself, when the process of audit is going on, we will have specially Q&A sessions, because you will be on the job, and any queries that are there to be resolved then and there, we will have as many as possible the number of Q&A sessions where you can directly ask for the Q&A questions that you have, issues that you have with the expert panel on that day also. So with these remarks, a very warm welcome to the members. Today we have 1,080 registrations for this bank branch audit series. Thank you very much for the overwhelming response to the members, and I hope it will be a very happy learning to you all during these 3 days. And also we wish to have I wish to announce that on various other topics we wish to have workshops wherein to widen the practice areas of the members. It will be very useful. So please make use of our workshops also, which will be conducted at SIRC level. And also please follow up for the program sheets or program details through the newsletter, e-newsletter that you will be receiving through your mails. With this, I am once again I am very thrilled to be part of this 3-day series for opening ceremony, I can say. So the curtain raiser is done, and now I hand over the proceedings to our secretary, Mr. Arun, and who will be introducing the speaker, and then the erudite speaker will make his presentations. This, I thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for your warm welcome. Now, Mr. R. Sundarajan is qualified FCA and DISA from ICAI. He is the managing partner in SRBR Associate LLB, Chennai, Kochi, and started in the year 1990. He is qualified in 1990. He did his articleship under K. Srinivasan, Mrs. Sundaram and Srinivasan Chartered Accountants. He's a well-known resource person in various topics, especially in bank audits. He's addressed members, students on various subjects of professional interest on audit, accounting, code of ethics at various study circle meetings, seminars, conference organized by SIRC, and its branches of ICAI, NIRC of ICAI, and branches of WRC of ICAI. Addressed member at other professional forums such as Chartered Accountants Study Circle, Association of Chartered Accountants Society, Society of Auditors, etc. Addressed bank officers at the Staff Training College of Banks, Reserve Bank of India, government officer at Audit and Control General of C&AG Audit. Address the members, student on professional subject at standard seminar conducted by SIRC of ICAI and ICMI and ICSI. He is the author of CAC Bulletin, monthly magazines of the Chartered Accountants of Study Circle, and co-author for the books Bank Audit Checklist published by the Chartered Accountants Study Circle. Served as a member of study group of the CAC that released the book Corporate Audit Checklist in 2003 and subsequent edition and reprints. Contributed article on subject of professional interest in the CAC bulletins. He is serving as an office bearer, served as a convener of Committee of Management of Chartered Accountants Study Circle, Chennai for many years, served as a treasurer, secretary, vice chairman, chairman of International Fiscal Law Association Southern Regional Chapter, served as a chairman of International Fiscal Law Association Southern Regional Chapter, serving as a member of Executive Committee of International Fiscal Law Association, India Branch, New Delhi, served as the member of various committee of ICAI and also SIRC of ICAI from time to time. Have served corporate member of various committees of ICAI in New Delhi. He is also a well organizer of the program. He is organized the annual residential conference committee of Chartered Accountants Study Circle continuously, serving as a part of organizing team for various study circle meetings, seminar, conference, and residential program of the Chartered Accountants Study Circle, SIRC and ICAI, All India Federation of Tax Practitioner. As associate of professional body, he is a life member of the Chartered Accountant Study Circle, Chennai, Societies of Auditor, annual member of Association of Chartered Accountants Chennai, International Fiscal Law Association, Institute of Internal Auditors. He is a socialist. He is having president of Lions Club of Chennai Super King, district chairperson of various activities in Lions District A1. Trustee of various charitable trusts created for the benefit of professional family welfare and educational aid, active blood donor. He is a professional, advisor, consultant for various trusts, non-profit organization, educational institution, and corporate, bank statutory audit, concurrent audit, revenue audit and inspection audit, due diligence audit, income tax consultancy, planning, appearing before appellate tribunals, secretarial compliance and liaison. Empaneled arbitrator for NSE in Chennai. Sir, with this, sir, I welcome you for today's first day opening as a opening batsman of Bank Audit seminar, sir. I welcome you. Sir,
thank you, Mr. Arun. Sir. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Arun, and thanks, Pannaraj sir, for welcoming you for this program. See, the introduction is so long, but I was just waiting for that to ensure that 400 becomes 1000, because 1000 is enrolled. I am having only 400 as the attendance. So I thought it's good time. We'll wait for the people to join. But the point is, the topic as such is almost a vexed topic. Even though it is coming on a year, but this bank branch audit topic is almost same because there is not much of a changes at all. But Pannaraj sir was rightly mentioned in the initial stages that it's an opportunity for remembering what we have forgotten. That is the reality. Because after April 30th, all of us keep the luggages and the books and into the shelf, and we don't even look at it again. Unless otherwise, people like us who are academically interested for ensuring that some developments are there, we have to examine for guidance note, reports, etc. Otherwise, nobody sees bank audit as a topic at all in the list of the 11 months. So effectively, these bank audit seminars are required for not for learning anything afresh, but only for remembering what has been forgotten. Absolutely, it was a very good point which Pannaraj was telling, and I also wanted to tell. So why I am telling this is, this preamble is important because there is not any change at all in the bank audit for the past 3-4 years. Why I am telling 3-4 years? 3-4 years before that, LFAR had gone for a big amendment. Before that, another 5 to 6 years, NPA norms has also not changed. So there are not much of a difference in what we have been doing as bank audit some 20 years back and what is now, except for the methods and approaches. So in fact, the topic which was told to me is audit planning and documentation. This is what I was bank branch audit, because basically I wanted to ensure there are no fresh circulars or guidances which is being brought in afresh. So I wanted to wait for the month end to do some good topics. But these audit techniques and audit methodologies are going to be permanently same as far as this bank branch audit is concerned. So I'm very happy to be an opening batsman, but I wanted to ensure that I'm opening batsman, not like an Indian opening batsman today who has failed. I don't want to be like that. I want to be a successful opening batsman. Let us hope. I think we'll be able to sustain the interest of the people for the entire program. So I would like to make it very clear, just the presentation of the next 2.5 hours, 3 hours, as the case may be, will be only on bank branch audit, which is already known to the entire crowd here. Probably some 10% of the people may be doing the bank audit for the first time, but most of us would have been doing the bank audit for such a long time. So this subject is nothing new, but only thing is it can come in a different form from my side, so that it will be having some value addition. For this purpose, I have made a presentation which is going to be shared with you. I'll be sharing this content subsequently after the session is over. I'll go to the, you can go through the content leisurely. But for the moment, I'll just go through the matter one by one. Arun, you can stop me at any point of time if there are some questions which is available on the chat box, number one. Rahman, for you also. If there are any questions specifically on chat box, you can stop at that point of time. And if I am going a bit speed also, you can definitely tell me so that I can reduce the speed so that people will be able to understand positively. And members who are hearing this session, if you have any specific objections or reservations, you please raise your hand so that the organizers will be able to get back to you in case of any specific requirement. I hope I am fully audible, so let me go through the presentation as it is. Aruna, is it okay?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So basically, this as an introduction slide. So I would like to spend some time on this particular point because this is the critical. Ramesh says no audio. I think audio is comfortable. In case Ramesh feels that there is no audio, please check up with them.
It is comfortable, sir.
It's an annual audit process. This, as I told in the initial stages, and also Chairman was telling, it's an annual audit process. Once in a year, we do this bank statute audit. Bank statute audit comes consistent as the first of nationalized banks, private banks, cooperative banks, urban cooperative banks, all these things. It's an annual audit process. The appointment is done somewhere in the month of March, and audit is being done in the month of April. We had opportunities in the earlier years to have get the appointment in the first week of March itself. So large banks, large branches, we were able to do the audit in the earlier occasions, even before the closure. Now the system has gone because the appointment itself is coming only after 15th or 16th of March. And the empanelment, as all of you know, is through Reserve Bank of India. And Reserve Bank of India gets the information only from ICAI, for which we are filing these MEF forms. These are all old methods, which you know. But the problem is now we are divided into category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, as far as auditors are concerned. Mostly proprietorship firms are not getting any audits at all because category 3 and 4, 2 and 1 itself is not able to get sufficient branches because number of branches coming under audit has come down. So this empanelment from by ICAI and then forwarding to Reserve Bank of India, they isolate and they send it to the respective banks. But the appointment of the branch auditors are done by the respective banks. Each and every year, they examine what is the number of vacancies which is raising because of people completing that 4-year term, and they were looking for what are the vacancies which is available. On the basis of the vacancy, they pick up the audit firms on the respective scales. Let it be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 as the case may be. They are picking up, and within them, they are appointing the list and requesting for the acceptances. Here, I would like to mention a very important point is that when a bank gives you an offer and you accept it, you cannot go for one more bank to be accepted. That has to be very, very clear. And as far as this bank audit is concerned, it is governed by Reserve Bank of India circulars only. Even, of course, obviously, institute's guidance note will be playing in a picture, but the reality is the audit is governed by Reserve Bank of India circulars only, not by the respective bank circular. Respective bank circular has to toe in line with Reserve Bank of India. But we are governed by Reserve Bank of India circular only in respect of all the audits. Let it be nationalized bank, private banks, scheduled banks, cooperative banks, whatever it is. There are different circulars, different master circulars which are available. Depending upon the master circular, the audit has to be completed. And obviously, the ICAI gives the guidance note on a periodical basis. I remember vividly some 4 years back, as part of the guidance note study group in Chennai, I was leading the group. At that time, we split the entire guidance note into two portions. One is towards central charge audit and second portion towards branch audit. That was appreciated fully, and suddenly it was changed back once again. But fortunately, this year, once again, I'm informed that the guidance note is given in two portions. One is towards, because once you club both the items, that becomes a pillow in your head and more than anything else. So if it is split up, you might be able to pick it up in a better manner. We are guided through the guidance note of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India along with RBI circular. Why I am stressing more on this point is, as long as you do an audit and you do an audit in accordance with the guidance note, when subsequently some issues crop up, you will be under safe hands, because the issues crop up on three different fronts. One is from Reserve Bank of India itself, because they consider that the audit has not been done in a proper form or whatever it is. How it will be considered? Subsequently here, when the same branch is being done by an audit by way of Reserve Bank of India people, and they find out that they have identified some accounts as already NPA, but those NPAs have not been identified by the auditors in a proper manner. This is one area. Second area, please appreciate, our LFAR copy goes to the Reserve Bank of India. Apart from the central statutories, it goes to the Reserve Bank. And Reserve Bank of India receives only LFAR of all the hundreds and thousands of branches. They go through that, and if they are finding it out that the LFAR is not complete in all aspects, they can take an action against you. This is one side of it. Second side of it, the bank's branches itself might have some issues. Third is, on the basis of this information which is available, if one of these accounts become a fraudulent activity or become a defaulter, which is already under default, which has not been reported by us, there can be other agencies which will be pumping on you as a branch statutory auditor, particularly in the places where it is not covered by concurrent audit. Branch statutory auditor will be held responsible. So for covering up all these things, we have to ensure a proper audit is being done, and it is to be done in accordance with the Reserve Bank of India circulars and only through the guidance note. What are all the things which we'll be doing in case of a branch audit? Once again, for the sake of repetition, I have to mention this once again. All these things are there for a long time. All of us know. But only thing is, we have to recollect what is being given. There is a regular independent auditor's report. There is a long form audit report, which is management report literally. Third item is tax audit report. Very many banks have gone out of tax audit report from their respective branch auditors because everything is done at centralized office. So they are not giving tax audit report in many banks. For example, State Bank of India does not give tax audit to the branch auditors. So regular audit report, wherever tax audit report is applicable, please do it. And there are lots of certificates which are being given. One of the important certificate is IRAC norms, because we give a certificate that the branch has classified the assets in accordance with IRAC norms, income recognition asset classification norms of Reserve Bank of India, and there are no deviations, which we are going to give. We are also going to give a certificate that regarding the provisioning, the concerned accounts has been correctly classified at the respective heads. Let it be standard, substandard, full loss as the case may be. Apart from that, there are lots of certifications which will be asked by way of such as capital adequacy. There will be Ghosh and Jinani recommendations, committee recommendations that will be there, whether the branch is following a proper systems, etc. Apart from that, there will be interest subsidy certificates. There will be CO, that is what you call subsidy certification for agricultural loans, interest subvention. Apart from subsidy, interest subvention certificates will be there. Like this, lots of certificates are available. We have to go through the checklist given by the respective banks. That they will, in the branch auditor's instruction, they will give a list of certificates to be given. All those certificates we are supposed to report. This is mainly covering the bank branch audit per se. So let us go into what is the salient features literally. Even though all of you know, I am once again repeating for the sake of understanding. It's a onerous task. We will understand it is not only the bank audit which is becoming onerous task. Every audit has become onerous task now, because the Damocles sword which is falling on the auditor's head is becoming stronger and stronger, because wherever, whatever be the problem happens, the first person to be caught is only auditor, because people feel that auditors are one and the only solution to find out all the errors of a particular company. Need not be the case as it is, but that is the belief or myth which has been created, as if that auditors are the only person who can find out any fraudulent activity in respect of any organization. And for the bank, it has become a very, very important issue. So in that situation, within the time to do an audit, which is a very, very onerous task, the task itself is difficult, but it is becoming onerous because there are lots of people who are looking forward for your performance or non-performance as the case may be, and they are waiting for an opportunity to catch hold of us. It's a huge responsibility. What is the responsibility which is being given? What are all we are certifying? We are certifying the fairness of the financials, correctness of the figures, correctness of the provision, correctness of the fixed assets as being stated, correctness of the liability which is being stated, correctness of the interest provisioning. But of course, it is not exactly the clerical correctness which we are justifying. We are only saying that the provision in respect of various income by way of interest or expenditure by way of interest is fairly accounted properly. We are not going to say that 100% it is right. That is not the intention. But the provision is concerned, we are supposed to say 100% is provided for. What is required to be considered as a non-performing has been considered. What is need not be considered as NPA, whether it has been correctly classified as performing. This is a 100% confirmation area. Whereas other provisions by way of interest income or commission income allocation or interest expenditure is only test check basis, which we are going to verify. We are not going to verify 100%. But as far as provisioning is concerned, you don't have an option at all. If there are 1,050 accounts in a particular branch, you are supposed to verify all the 1,050 accounts. Okay. How it has to be verified is a technique that we have to find out. But it has to be verified. The intention is you have seen through all the accounts to ensure whether it is not coming as a performing or non-performing, it has to be done. The third salient feature as far as bank branch audit is concerned, limited time available. I am not fully agreeing with this particular point for a simple sake that the fees is definitely lucrative enough as far as bank audit is concerned. Maybe many of the members will not know. I would like to share at this juncture. There is an increase in audit fees in the current year. This has already been considered and it has been announced by the Reserve Bank of India. Also, it will be automatically coming through the appointment letters. The audit fees is increased in spite of the situation that many of our people are not doing the audit in a proper manner or within the time. That is, if they are giving you 10 days time for 3 branches, we are bound to divide the team into 3 teams and take up the work. It is not that within 10 days, we are supposed to complete 3 branches, mean 3 in one branch, 3 in the next branch, 3 in the third branch. That is not the case. They are expecting us to go through the accounts of all the branches in a detailed manner. So we will have to have in such a manner that we'll have to take through all the accounts of the respective branches by the different teams. It is not that one team, one partner can go through all the branches, but the same team cannot be through all the branches. So for a moment, I will say that the limited time availability is not agreeable to me for a moment. But at the same time, once you go into the audit on the 3rd or 4th of April, the chief manager will come and say, sir, when will you sign? When I say that I'm going to sign after 5 days or 6 days, sir, last time they signed it only 2 days, sir. May not be true, but may be true. But the reality is this year it may not be possible within 2 days. You will have to make it very clear to the branch management that it is not the situation. You have already had the time given by your head office that 13th or 14th of April, you have to provide the financials. That is the time available for you. If you are taking the job on 3rd, you have time up to 13th or 14th according to the branch instruction which has been given. Please understand the time is sufficiently available for you, but still, even that limited time only. Why? The reason is the value on volume which you are going to verify in respect of each and every bank is huge, humongous. In that situation, whatever be the time given, it will be limited only because I'm seeing a large advance, which is of around 20 crores. That you go through the examination of all the data and ask the client manager to get some information from the client. It will take 2 more days. After that, the paper will come. You have to go through the verification once again. This is huge time it will take for doing the audit. So the time available is limited only, but there is no pressure for you for doing the audit. But at the same time, you have to manage the time in a proper manner. The next is shortage of trained manpower. First of all, earlier there was a situation, there was no manpower at all. Fortunately, we have subsequently modified that apprenticeship agreements, arrangements, etc. We are able to get a manpower. But what is happening is we are not getting the Arun, once again, one more person is saying that audio is not working.
It is audible only, sir.
Audible. Probably they are having a difficulty. Let them try.
Yeah, they are having the difficulty in their system, sir.
Just send a private chat to them that they have to examine that. That's all. So shortage of trained manpower. The trained manpower is not available. It is a $1 million question. Where is the trained manpower? Where is it? Everybody has gone. But that is the future. So we have to ensure how it is being done. So for covering all these 4 features, what is the resultant need? We have to do a proper planning and approach, because anything which is being done in a proper planning and with a proper approach, we will definitely end up successful. Without proper planning and without proper approach, we are bound to end up in failure. It is not that we will definitely fail. With the proper planning and approach, we will definitely succeed. Without proper planning, there is a possibility we may fail. Why do you have to have a failure situation at all? As a chartered accountant, we are supposed to succeed in all the occasions. Let this also be an occasion that we will only succeed. For doing that success, let us have a proper planning and proper approach. So the topic today is for audit planning and documentation. Third day, I'm having some documentation by one of the speakers, which is Vivek Krishna Gandhi, who is also a very good person who is on auditing topic. But he is having other complications, and after that, he is going to go into this area. So I am going to go a bit more detail in documentation. So the entire bank audit can be divided with this name by way of an approach. So we have an acronym called approach. Each and everything, let us go into each and every item. First thing is appointment and acceptance. First timers, basically, I would like to mention about this first timers. Appointment and acceptance. As I told you in the initial stages, once you get a confirmation from one particular bank, for example, Indian Overseas Bank is calling you and asking you, you are joining for the first time, or you given any acknowledgement to anybody. You said no. Sir, you have been shortlisted by Indian Overseas Bank, you will get a formal letter shortly. With that, your appointment is over. Even though the letter will come subsequently, the appointment is effectively over. So next moment, if you get a call from Indian Bank, you should not come and say, yes, I am available. Because if you give concurrence for both the items, both the banks are more than one banks, unfortunately, you will not be getting the appointment at all. Your appointment will become invalid. So please ensure that you get it. Once you get an appointment from one particular bank, you don't go for another appointment. And then acceptance. Once you get an appointment, you are supposed to give an acceptance, and you have to sign a declaration called Declaration of Fidelity and Secrecy. The formats will be sent to you. You have to sign it. But before doing that, obviously, you are bound to have previous communication with the previous auditor. Sir, as far as bank audit is concerned, it's only by Reserve Bank of India appointment, sir. Why should I go for a previous? It is part of the rule, part of the code of ethics. Bank branch auditors also is supposed to take an information and confirmation from the previous auditors. 99.99% of the time, the previous auditor may not respond. In that situation, in your letter itself, you can say, we will wait for a short time, and please ensure that within that time, you will have to give an objection, if any. If they don't say anything, it is assumed that there is no objection. But the message has to go very clearly, and the message has to go through a registered letter, which is not possible nowadays. So code of ethics has been amended. If you send the mail, send the correspondence to the mail, which is lastly known as per the Reserve Bank of India's point, or from the banker's point of view, or from the institute's point of view, what is the last known address you can send. So effectively, your appointing bank will send you the previous auditor's name along with email ID. Please send it to them regarding no objection certificate. No objections certificate. But you may not wait for the certificate. Once you give the correspondence, wait for some time, you can take up the work. There is no issues at all. But without that, don't accept it. If you accept it, you are on fault as per Code of Ethics 2019. Next thing is, you will have to plan for the audit. I will go through the plan in a detailed manner subsequently. For a moment, let us understand that there is a planning which is required. The planning includes a program. Program is detailed items, detailed program. What is plan is overall plan. When do you start the work? When do you propose to complete? Who are all the persons who are going to do the job? Person A will be doing the advances. Person B will be doing the deposits and other certifications. Person C will be doing the balance sheets, financial statements, and certifications, etc. And when is it going to be start? When is it going to be reviewed? All these things are part of the plan. And what is the program? Program will be in detail. Once you are taking up the audit verification of advances, what are all the areas you are going to verify the audit? How you are going to verify that? That is coming under the program. I will go through those items in separate slides. Refresher course. Today we are attending a refresher course. They say that it is I'm the opening batsman and it's the opening screen is being lifted. It's true. We have to have a refresher course. not only within ourselves, the refresher course has to be among the partners, among the students, among the fraternity. In fact, I always have a practice of having my own friends association, friends apart from CAC or ACA or Society of Auditors. We also have our own charter governance groups, few firms to join together and have a program, because the refresher course has to be in detail for a couple of days for us to understand. Organize the time effectively. The first slide made it very clear. We have limited time. Once you have a limited time, you have to organize it properly. If you organize it, you might be able to do it in a proper manner. Appropriate audit techniques. We cannot do audit as you do in case of a proprietorship or a partnership firm or a private limited company, which is having lots of areas to be verified, and you have lots of time also. Number one. Second issue, or there are certain clients where the work is very, very limited, but at the same time, the intensity of verification is required for. Here, it is totally different animal altogether. We have huge area of verification, and most of the items are not most of the items. All the items are coming through a system, which is called as CBS, which is also another animal, core banking solutions. So everything available inside the system. Whenever you go and ask about a particular return which is being generated, the branch manager will coolly say, sir, it is system generated report, sir. We don't have any idea how it is being generated. Just for a sake of example, I'm taking, as far as capital adequacy ratio is concerned. When the capital adequacy ratio statement is being generated, they come and say that it is generated by the system, sir. I don't have any information. In that situation, if you are not able to verify those information which is available in respect of that particular statement, it is better to give a disclaimer on how it is being verified. You have to mention that it is being generated from the system, and we examined and verified that only from the financials, and probably the respective balances alone being verified, because you cannot sign a paper without verifying anything at all. It is not possible. This is one appropriate audit technique. As far as the advances is concerned, when you are going to verify the NPA norms, or as the case may be in case of a stock statement, whether it is being received or not, you have to go and verify how the audit techniques has to be verified. For example, in case of a CC accounts, they will have a system of whenever the stock statement is received, it is being updated to the system on a daily basis. So on 3rd of April, 2021-22, they would have got the stock statement of March, which they are supposed to go and enter that. On the basis of that only, the drawing power for the next month has to be fixed, whether they are doing it on a methodical basis. For doing that, you have to know how the system has to be verified as far as CC accounts is concerned, to confirm what all the audit techniques has to be verified, that you have to examine. It depends on the software which is being used in the respective banks. There is a flex software, there is in-house software which is available, there's an iFlex solution which is there. So each and every place may have different software, but whatever be the software which is available, the data is going to be almost same. And ultimately, the end result will be coming only on the basis of the audit. So you will have to have a different audit techniques and do the audit in a proper manner. Compiling the report. You do the audit, everything. But unless otherwise you finally compile all the reports and keep it with you, you will not be able to justify whether you have done the job. Because after having completed the audit, you go back to your headquarters, or suddenly the branch will come with one certificate. Sir, if the certificate has been restored, sir, you please come and sign. Without going through any of these things, how will you go and verify it? It is absolutely impossible. So you will have to ensure that all the papers are being compiled in a proper manner at one particular place, so that the certificates and signed signatures which you are supposed to do, all of those things you do it at the branch level only. Don't come back and examine whether something is to be verified or not. You have to have a comprehensive checklist of what all the items to be signed there itself and do it there itself. H, which is very, 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 very important, housekeeping. So what all you certify and sign will be available. In State Bank of India at all, you don't sign at all. Everything is by way of a digital signature. You have only a soft copy to be downloaded and kept it in your table. But there are other banks where you are physically signing also. The signed papers, you have to keep it separately, but that is not sufficient. You have to have supporting items for each and every item. Let there be suspenses, let there be sundries, let there be contingent liabilities. For each and every item, there will be some sufficient working papers which is there. There are no contingent liabilities. For confirming that no contingent liability, you would have prepared some working paper. What are all the working papers which are available? All those things are required, and the working papers are to be maintained for 7 continuous years. Only after 7 years, you are eligible for destroying the working papers, because institute will not ask question in respect of audits done before 7 years. So please ensure that the housekeeping is properly done. I will go through these items in a detailed manner. Appointment and acceptance. Think carefully before accepting to be included in the panel. Please ensure that you please verify that. Are you eligible for that? Have you ensured that you have not given concurrence for another person? You do not give consent to another bank? Ensure that the firm does not suffer from any disqualification. What are the disqualifications available? There can be a change in constitution. You might have been a 3-partner member. Now you will have become a 2-partner member, 2-partner firm. In that situation, from scale 3, you would have slipped to scale 4. There is every possibility. Or there may be a situation you might have improved. The improving will not be eligible for considering, but reduction or deterioration will definitely be considered. You might have been a partnership firm of 2 persons and suddenly it has become a proprietor. Then obviously the constitution is totally changed. So you might not be able to be raised. Burle Surli Babu has raised a hand. Please check up what is his requirement. So you do not suffer any disqualification on account of change in constitution of the firm. What will you do, sir? There is a change in constitution. What do we do? Please correspond with the respective appointing authority. Confirm to them. Please understand, we were 7 partners earlier. Now it has become 5 partners because of this change in deed. Please confirm whether we can take up the audit. They will definitely confirm to you, yes, it is acceptable. This is one side of it. Second question is being indebted to the bank for a sum exceeding 1,000 rupees. Obviously, it is a provision of Companies Act also. Once you are indebted to the client, you are not supposed to do the audit at all. So even 1,000 rupees, you are not supposed to be indebted. Whether loan on deposit is a debt or not, it is a debt only. Even though it is against your own deposit, that is a debt only. So you are not supposed to have any debt at all. I know certain clients, certain chartered accountants who had to close their housing loan in the month of March for taking up the audit. Only after that, they accepted the audit. Because this is important than that, because the firm should not suffer. And basically, it is not that you are only indebted. Whether any of the partners are indebted, or the close date to the, all these things, please examine so that conflict of interest will not be happening. Holding any security of the bank carrying voting rights. You are not supposed to hold the shares also. All of us will be trading in shares. For example, you are holding a shares of State Bank of India and you get an appointment of State Bank of India, you alienate the shares and then take up the audit. On the date of signing the financial statement, you are not supposed to be, or on the date of giving the acceptance, you are not supposed to hold any shares carrying the votes. Leave alone these items. What about credit card? Is it treated as a debt? Credit card is not considered as a debt. But if the credit card has been defaulted and you are not paid for a long time, then it becomes a debt. Sukumar Reddy, hi host. That question is gone. So if there are any, let me go through the questions subsequently. One more important point which I have to mention about the suffer from disqualification is if you have done some specific service for a particular branch for a particular year. For example, you have been serving them by way of TDS compliances, or you have been doing them for doing some bank proposals which you have done in a particular bank, or one of your major client is having a facility in a particular branch where you have been appointed as auditor. In fact, I had a case some 7 years back in State Bank of India. One of my branch was having one of my client who is a large borrower. So in that situation, we sent a letter to them that if you have any objection, please respond. Only thing is, I will ensure that the audit is not done by me, audit is done by a different partner. That we gave it, and they gave a concurrence. You can proceed as it is without suffering the independence. Suffering the independence, that they have mentioned it very clearly. So independence threat should not be there. Conflict of interest should not be there. Debt should not be there. If these items are there, you can take up the audit in a proper manner and you don't suffer any disqualification. Please ensure that you don't suffer disqualifications, because audit engagements SA 210 drives the entire course along with Code of Ethics 2019. Issue an engagement letter and obtain an acknowledgement letter. See, the problem is the bank branches do not give any formal letters at all. But engagement letter and obtain an acknowledgement is always better. Please prepare it saying that the following persons will be appointed to do the audit. The audit will be conducted in accordance with the circulars given by the Reserve Bank of India through your bank. And please confirm this acknowledgement and take the acknowledgement from them. On that basis, you can conclude it. There is no formal engagement like what we do in respect of the clients independently by fixing the fees, etc. Because these fixes are fixed by Reserve Bank of India. The branch does not have any say at all. But at the same time, it's ideal to have an engagement letter prepared, give it to them, take an acknowledgement and keep it with you. Obtain NOC from auditor. Obviously, there will not be an NOC literally. If at all they give an NOC, it is fine. But even if they don't give an NOC, it is not NOC. Communicate with the previous auditor. Please ensure that the communication with the previous auditor happens before you take up the audit. This is regarding the appointment and acceptance. Next is planning the audit. So planning the audit is very, very important, as I told you. Before taking up the audit itself, you can ask for profiling of the advances. I am just having a link here. I will just go through that. I want to know whether you are able to see. Arun, are you able to see any attachment? Or Rahman, are you able to see any attachment? Any slide is seen? Yeah. So I have got yes, fine. So
Sir, yes, sir. It is
yeah, okay. So analysis of advanced portfolio. This is very, very important for doing the planning. Once you take this information from the respective branches, according to the facility, number of accounts which is available as per the latest weekly abstract. Probably you might have got the appointment on 15th of March. Take the weekly abstract as on 14th of March or 12th of March, as the case may be. Take the information and fill it up in this sheet. So what happens is, if you are going to take up a branch where it is materially cash credit oriented accounts, your audit planning will be totally different. If you are going to take up an audit which is more of agri loans or gold loans, your approach will be totally different. In certain branches, hundreds of accounts will be there. The total limit will be only 1 crore. There may be only 10 items which will be available, which will be covering 25 crores, like bill discounting. In that situation, your approach will be totally changed. So please ensure that the advances portfolio is being taken from them. Prepare the weekly abstract in this format. This is my format. You can look at any other format which will suit you, but this is my format. Our office uses this format. You know, number of accounts as a percentage of total. What is the balance outstanding? What is the percentage of total? On the same basis, when you go subsequently and verify that, you can fill up those number of accounts verified. So when you see the comparison, you may be able to say whether you have done a reasonable level of sampling or not. You may be able to ascertain from that. The first portion is required for planning. The second portion, after your audit is being filled up, will satisfy a requirement of audit sampling. Same sheet will be utilized in a two different form. The first portion is going to help you in the form planning, formation, etc. For example, I am going to do a rural-based audit. I may be sending one staff who may be interested, who may be already aware of these agricultural branches, and I will send it across to them. Because the same jewel loan, if it is for an agriculture purpose, it has to be treated in a different form. It is given for a general loan purpose, it has to be done in a different form. Vehicle loan, if it is tractor loan, it is a different methodology. And if it is a car given for any other non-agriculture, it will be different format. So things has to go in a proper manner. When it is a corporate banks, corporate branches, then I have to identify some good chartered accountant or semi-chartered accountant who already have a thought process of how a loan processing is happening. In case of agricultural loan or in case of jewel loan, there is no much examination of verification of advances on the sanctioning terms. Whereas in case of corporate loans, the sanctioning itself is very, very critical. All of you know that long form audit report has been amended 2 years back with lots of additional inputs, and the LFAR is being seriously viewed by Reserve Bank of India, whether it is properly dealt with or not. So this will help you in examining whether you are verifying that report or not. I will just skip this. Send a questionnaire asking for important details of the branch, because once the branch gives you information about what is their nature, what are the major accounts which are available, if they fill up the questionnaire and send it across, on that basis, you may be able to change your audit techniques or plan your audit techniques accordingly. For example, if the branch has too many number of accounts but less value, you can depute lower level or first year people more and one senior the reception. In case of it is a corporate advances, you can make 2 seniors and one sub-junior, so that he may be able to do the clerical job in a lesser manner. Carry out certain analytical review with the data obtained. Once you get the data, just don't keep the data like that. The branches take the data from the borrowers and they don't study at all. That is the problem of credit appraisal in most of the branches. Let us not do the same thing. Take the portfolio, take the questionnaire, take the information. On that basis, you examine and find out analytical review. For example, deposits, advances, interest on deposits, interest on advances. Whether the comparison, you can see it here itself, whether the revenue is increasing, whether profitability increasing, whether the branch head office changes has been properly done. All these things are available from that only. Same way, they might give some critical important viewpoints from the past concurrent audit reports, from the past earlier reports. They can give some information whether the loans have been seriously significantly increased in this current year, or there's a gradual increase. That can give you a valuation. On the basis of the analytical review, prepare a detailed audit checklist. Without checklist, don't do any job. As I told you in the first stage, if you do a proper plan and approach it properly, you cannot fail. If you don't properly plan, there is a possibility of a failure. I don't say that you will definitely fail. I don't want to give that negative feeling at all. Positive feeling, I would like to say, if you do it properly planned and properly checklist, etc. Because without checklist, you cannot do a job at all. Even for corporate audits, we need a checklist. For a bank audit, you definitely need a checklist, because within 5 days, you are supposed to complete the job. Under service, you have a checklist, you may not be able to do it. I will share a checklist at the end of the presentation, one of those subsequent, because I have lots of checklists. I don't want to go only with the checklist, because it will take longer time. Timing. When do you start? When do you end? This date you will have to fix up very clearly in the first stage itself, because without that, you will not be able to do an audit in a proper manner. You are starting on 2nd and you already made up your mind to complete on 7th. You have made it up. But don't tell that leak to the information to the staff, because they will be starting from the 2nd itself. When are you going to complete the audit? We are not here bound by that requirement. We are bound by the requirement of appointing authority only, which is not Reserve Bank of India. Original appointment of the thing is Reserve Bank of India. But who is appointing authority is the respective banks. They give you the time schedule. Before 15th, please send it that papers accordingly. There will be the rat race among the branches in the region. Which branch is supposed to give the first? We are not here for joining the rat race. Let us be very, very clear. We will take up the audit in a proper manner and have a plan start, and end date you complete it and do it. Manpower, formation of team and training. As I told you, it has to be a group effort, because unless you have a team, bank audit cannot be done at all. One person going along with the papers and seal and signing, the system is already gone. You cannot be doing like that, because almost all the branches that are covered under audit are slightly larger branches only. Earlier, when I was in the initial stages of audit and all, 1995 and all, there were small branches, 1.5 crores, 2 crores audit branches also was covered under audit. We go there, complete the audit in 1 day when you sign, because there is nothing else to see in those places. Now it is not like that. LFIR is very, very long. Even in case of standard advances, we are supposed to report. Earlier, only in case of substandard advances and bad advances, we are supposed to report. Now, in respect of large advances, which are standard also, we are supposed to verify and report. And we are supposed to report how many advances we have verified. How many advances we have verified, we are supposed to report. So please understand, the regulator is watching very closely whether you have done a justifiable job or not. For doing that, please ensure a manpower for team formation is properly done, and also training. As I told you in the initial stages, a refresher course. A refresher course is compulsorily required for your team, for ensuring that they get to know what is to be done and they get to know what is not to be done. Both are important. Just take an example. A fresher, normally in your audit, you will be saying that whichever document which you are verifying, you have to give a green tick. You give the instruction in case of a corporate audit. Same thing is not applicable in case of a bank audit, because one tick in one of the particular document, the document itself will become invalid. You are in for a serious problem. Please ensure that training is properly done as far as the branch audit team is concerned. Working paper management. Once again, working papers are contemporaries in nature. It should not be done subsequent to the audit is done, which is never workable. While you are doing the audit, prepare the working paper. For example, a particular corporate advance you are verifying, you are examining whether the stock statements has been received or not, book debt statements has been received or not, book debts has been properly verified by another auditor or not. All these things, you take the information, keep it with you. For example, in one particular suit filed case, a case has been filed and on the notifications already be given by the bank, DRT. For example, I'm telling you DRT. What is the status of the DRT? What is the recovery procedure that has been done? If you have those information now itself, you can keep it in your file. They will say that I will give it subsequently. In that situation, keep the file separately until it comes. The file is not complete. Same way, you keep it in a systematic manner, because how many years? Because unless you do it in a systematic manner, you will not be able to manage the working paper subsequently when an issue happens. We don't know whether issue happens or not. If at all an issue happens, we are bound to follow with the working paper management only. So go to the SA 300 and SA 315. 315 is very, very important, understanding the entity. Because I have a classic example of one chartered accountant, of course, not recently, 10, 12 years back. A chartered accountant was going to a branch audit and doing for the first time. He's calling me and saying that there is a format wrong, which is available in the bank balance sheet, sir. That is, the branch has been done for the audit for the earlier year also. Even the last year also, the format is wrong. He's under the impression that formats of bank balance sheet also has to be according to Schedule 6 at that time. That is the level of understanding. Unfortunately, a few banks, I'm not saying about every auditor, first timer, they're under confusion. So please ensure that understanding the entity is important. What is a bank? Which has to be understood. What is an advance? Normally, when I say advance is basically advance for expenses or advance for traveling advance, etc. That's what we understand. The student should understand advances in the nature of a bank is considered as a loan. It is not anything else. Advance means in the same bank, your advance for expenses shown under sundries or suspense. There is a difference altogether. So this understanding has to happen as far as branch is concerned. What is your client? The client is totally different. So SA 315, you have to go through that and examine that the same thing is reaching to the staff also. And SA 300, a plan for audit of financial statement has to be explained, understood by all the audit team. Then only you have to do the audit. If we go into that in more detail, then it becomes a SA class, which I don't want. Program. As I told you, planning is different, program is different. What's an audit program? Program should cover all the areas under the liabilities, assets, income, expenditure, and also off-balance sheet items. Normally, off-balance sheet items you may not see. But after this PNB fraud and some other frauds which are coming up, we are not supposed to leave the off-balance sheet items also. What are the off-balance sheet items which are available? Now, this concept of what do you call the contingent liability not being disclosed is not there, because the system of letter of comfort and all is gone. It is not there. But at the same time, if you go through the information of the branch, and if there are some correspondence which give an indication that there is something like letter of comfort, please keep your antenna open, examine that and pick it up. But for each and every verification of a particular liability, particular asset, particular, for example, I am taking one particular example of an asset, fixed asset. There is an advance for fixed asset to the extent of 10 lakhs in the balance sheet. What do you see? You will have to see necessarily whether the asset has been installed during the year itself, because assets installed also, they would not have capitalized, because they might be waiting for a approval from regional office. You cannot wait for the approval from the regional office, because that has to be capitalized in your books. Not only capitalized, it may be only 10 lakh advance. The total asset value may be 15 lakhs. In that situation, 5 lakhs also has to be capitalized if the asset is already installed. And on 15 lakhs, you have to provide for depreciation also. So these two items, others will not be able to find out. A chartered one has to plan for it and tell your team that whenever you see an asset like this, please verify like that. In the same way, income. In case of interest on interest, the banks have only three major incomes. One is interest, another is bill discounting charges, another is miscellaneous income, which is very, very negligible, processing charges, etc. But wherever new loans are given, definitely processing charges will be happening. So please ensure whenever new loans are there, whether processing charges has been realized. As far as CC account is concerned, it will be renewed every year. There will be renewal charges every year, whether it is being collected. Whenever there are overdues, overdue interest will be charged, whether the overdue interest is charged, whether the system takes care of it. If the system does not take care of it, it's a serious issue. If the system takes care of it and still they have not charged, it is the branch's issue. Please examine where it is coming into the picture. Special emphasis on verification of advances, recognition, and provisions to be made. 100% you are supposed to verify. Not all the advances. I'm talking about all the recognitions, IRAC norms, and provisions. You have to see 100%. Sir, do you mean to say the 1,500 accounts has to be verified? No, that is not my point. You have to create a system in such a manner. How do you verify? For example, loans given during this financial year 2022-23 may not be slipping into NPA. May not be. I'm not saying 100% it may not be, but may not be slipping into NPA. But there is every possibility an advance given in the month of May itself can become an NPA. Then it is called as a separate information, which is calling for a separate report. In the LFR itself, you are supposed to give a separate report. Quick mortality account. There is a question called quick mortality accounts. An account which is becoming an NPA within 1 year of sanction, it is called as a quick mortality account. Have you observed any quick mortality accounts? One question is there in long format report. So please verify advances. We have to examine between large advances and other advances. Large advances are those advances which are 5% or above by the branches, and how much amount is available in respect of each and every branch. You have to examine that, and on that basis you have to verify that. You have to see all the large advances. In respect of other advances, you are supposed to pick up the items. How many items you are picking up also, you are supposed to give in the long format report. So you cannot just like that say that we have verified in the earlier occasions, some 20 years back, long format report had only 2 points. In respect of large advances examined by you, whether any report is supposed to be required, any particular report you want to mention. In respect of other advances examined by you, whether you want to give any report. There were only 2 questions. That question has become so much now. Question number 5 of long format report is running into pages. Previously, it was covered only in 2 places. Now it is going into long 5 items. I will go through those items independently. Carry out a compliance sense of internal controls. Examine, for example, inoperative accounts. As I told you in respect of interest examination, how it is being done. Please ensure that it is all verified. Identifying areas of weaknesses. Where is the weakness available? Weakness can be in a password mechanism. Weakness can be in case of 2% utilizing the same password. All these things are areas of weaknesses. Please examine in the information technology audit whether any weaknesses has been already reported, and if it is reported, please examine that. On that basis, go for substantive testing. Preliminary compliance test is to be done. On the basis of that, you can go for substantive testing and examine more into those details. For example, the branch you verified at least 4 advances of working capital. Stock statement is not at all received. So you please expand your verification. Because if the stock statement is not received for the last 6 months, up to September, if they have taken a stock statement, there might have been an issue, because October drawing power is there. After the 3 months is okay. And after the 3 months only, it becomes non-performing. On the 7th month, it will become an NPA. But at the same time, if you don't receive stock statement at all, it is a serious issue. So please expand your area and examine that. So for the purpose of verifying the substantive testing, internal controls has to be examined. On the basis you have to do it. Areas that require full check, 100% what are the areas to be verified? Verification of profit and loss account and balance sheet. Once again, the branch will come and say, sir, this is not my area, sir, it is coming from the system. Yes, it is coming from the system, no doubt. But a printout is done by a man and coming and giving you the printout only. Whether the printout is coming from the same system or not, you have to go into the system and examine and see the tri-bands of that particular date and examine whether the figures are matching or not. If you don't do that, how do you know that it is either it is system generated report or a report typed in the Excel sheet? You will not be knowing that. Please examine the balance sheet and profit and loss account in a detailed manner. Verify all the closing returns with the respective ledgers. What are the closing returns? There are umpteen number of returns which will be given. For example, suspenses, sundries, performing advances, non-performing advances, provisioning areas, bills, discounted, letter of credits, bank guarantees, all these things, there will be separate closing returns will be available. The closing returns, the total figure has to match with the ledger accounts, and there should be a breakup also which will be available. Similar to our schedules verification in case of a corporate audit, there will be schedules which will be available. In the schedule, there should not be any balancing figures. It should be having a detailed list of items. It should not be just like that, a simple figure that is consolidated, 240 accounts. It should not be like that. It should have a list of items. Probably in case of standard advances, they will not give you a printout, but they will generate a report and show it to you. From that, you can pick up the figure and take down in your note sheet which report you have verified, that you can fill it up there. That you can do it. Verification of all large advances granted during the year. But one point which I want to tell you is, it is not sufficient to verify the advances granted during the year only. You have to verify the large advances of the previous year also, for 2 reasons. One is for ascertaining the good mortality account. Number 2, in respect of last year advances verified. In the current year, if it is becoming bad, you are supposed to report that. Number 2. Number 3, there are large advances given 2 years before also with a holiday period of 2 years. So after holiday period, the repayment will start only in the current year. So in respect of those cases also, unless and you verify, otherwise you verify the sanction ticket, you will not be able to give a proper report in respect of large advances. So all large advances you are supposed to verify. All large advances are granted during the year and also in the earlier years. Only thing is, in the earlier years documents, you will not go through the documentation in detail, or appraisal you may not be verifying in detail, because appraisal is done in some other area, some other year. So you will not be verifying that. But at the same time, the compliances of this schedule, for example, in 2020-21, they have given a loan for construction activity. And they have said that the final completion certificate should be signed within 18 months from the financial from the year in which the loan is given. The 18th month falls in the year 2023, which is your audit period. So in that situation, unless you see the sanction ticket, you may not be able to examine whether you have complied with the norms or not. All large NPA advances you are supposed to verify in detail. What is that you have to verify? You have to verify whether the NPA advances, the status of the NPA advances, if it is suit filed case, what is the status of the suit, and whether it has to be written off fully. It has been provided for, but it has to be written off fully. Or is it in substandard assets, substandard 2, it has to go to doubtful 1, doubtful 1 to doubtful 2, doubtful 2 to doubtful 3 it has to go, or it has to be written off as loss itself. Please examine as per the NPA norms, IRAC norms, please go through that and verify. These are the areas you don't have an option at all. You are supposed to verify fully. So in the advances verification, what are the areas which are supposed to verify? This is what I said. The question number 5 has been divided into 5 categories. They are asking us whether the credit appraisal has been done in a proper manner or not. Please understand, the branch manager will come and say, jump immediately. Sir, why are you going to the credit appraisal? It is an inspection auditor's work. No. The question in the long form audit report is very, very clear. Whether the branch is following the credit appraisal mechanism in a proper manner, whether they have appraised their eligibility in a proper manner, always you please report. They are asking us. So credit appraisal consists of various items, including the verification of CPE report, including the verification of the repayment capacity, including the verification of the qualification. For example, a doctor is coming and applying for an education loan for higher education. If he has not qualified in MBBS itself, how can you give up a loan for higher education? Wrong. In case of a working capital loan also, they are having a turnover of 1 crore. They are suddenly coming and asking for a loan of 5 crores. When the turnover itself is 1 crore, where is the eligibility of 5 crores? Unless there is a justification, it should be examined. You have a term loan for doing an equipment manufacturing, equipment purchase. You have purchased the machinery, and subsequently the machinery is going to be utilized for, say, upgradation. If the machinery itself is not there, where is the upgradation? And whether the upgradation will give a real value addition as far as the asset is concerned. What is the value addition? What is the projection on the basis of this value addition? Whether the income will increase. If the income will increase, the repayment will happen. These items, the branch manager should have appraised. You are not supposed to appraise. The branch manager or the sanctioning authority should have appraised, and you are supposed to examine whether the appraisal has been done or not. If it is not done, please report. That's all. You don't have to go and verify the credit appraisal. That is not your area. Please examine whether the credit appraisal has been done properly or not. Once the credit appraisal is being done, whether the sanctioning and disbursement has been done properly. First is sanction. On the basis of credit appraisal, sanction is being given. Whether a formal sanction letter has been given with all the terms and conditions according to the bank's law, yes. And whether the acceptance has been received from the sanctioning the borrower, yes, it has been received. According to the sanction disbursement, whether disbursement is being made. Before disbursement is made, documentation has happened, first of all. Whether documentation has been done properly and disbursement is made. What is the disbursement made? In case of housing loan, loan will be given for 1 crore, but disbursement will be made in stages. Whether the disbursement is done according to the stages only. In case of a working capital advance, amount will not be given to him. Amount will be given to the creditor, or amount will be allowed by way of a drawing from a CC account, which will directly go to the end use of funds. End use of funds is only a supplier, whether it is properly done. All these things we are supposed to examine in respect of sanctions during the year, and also in respect of sanctions during the earlier years. Review and supervision. A loan is being given today. and documentation is sanction is given. After that, documentation happens and disbursement happens. After that, what is going to happen? Review and supervision. Whether the particular borrower is properly doing his business in a proper manner and whether he is repaying the interest in a proper manner in the initial stages with the holiday period, and after the holiday period, whether he is paying with the principal or not. Whether this is properly monitored by the respective branch, including stock verification. As far as the stock verification is concerned, the branch management has the authority and responsibility to go and verify the units every quarter. But if there is a concurrent auditor available, concurrent auditor is supposed to rotate all the units and you are supposed to verify all the units in a year. Whether these things are done properly, that comes under supervision and monitoring. If this is not properly done by the branch, you are supposed to verify. For example, they give a projection of turnover to the extent of 1 crore. You have to go and examine whether that 1 crore projection is achievable or not. You are supposed, not you means I'm not talking about the auditors, the respective branch heads should have gone periodically and gone and verified whether it is happening or not. If it doesn't happen, after 1 year, you go and verify that nothing is happening, it is going to be a serious issue. For which you are supposed to have a checklist. I will show only 2 checklists for want of time. One is large advances. See, as far as large advances is concerned, you are supposed to prepare a sheet like this with the name of the borrower. What is the constitution? Maybe a private. Are you all seeing this slide? Say yes, at least couple of people.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, fine. So this is what happening is, these are all information technology issue. I wanted to confirm that people are seeing that. Account classification by bank may be standard or substandard or doubtful as the case may be. Have the accounts been restructured during the year? Yes means you have to have the details on the reverse of the page. If there is no restructuring, you don't have a problem. No, you can go ahead with that. And as far as sector classification is concerned, whether it is priority sector or others, or as the case may be public sector, who is verifying? This is going to be part of your documentation. Part of your documentation. Mr. A is verifying or Mr. B is verifying, and who is reviewing? Who is the verifying person? Who is the reviewing person? And who is the partner who is going to verify that? This has to be noted here. Once that is noted, the system is available in your organization. And then go into this. Have all the details filled up here. This is part of the contemporary working paper during the audit itself. What is account type? What is the limit? When is the sanction date or limit expiry date? DP or theoretical balance. In case of CC account, there is a drawing power available. In case of term loans, there is a theoretical balance. What do you mean by theoretical balance? If a loan is given for 1 crore with annual with a monthly payment of 1 lakh, 100 installments. After 12 months, a theoretical balance will be 88 installments into 1 lakh. 88 lakhs will be the theoretical balance. That is what is called as drawing power in case of CC or term loan as the case may be. This is the theoretical balance. What is account balance? If the theoretical balance minus account balance is more than 3 months, then it becomes irregular. The entire amount is irregular as it is. And if it is irregular for more than 3 months, then it becomes asset classification, which has to be shifted to substandard. So you can capture the entire information in respect of large advances here itself. From that, you may be able to conclude. And this is, for example, if the same particular party has too many account numbers, for example, term loan 1, term loan 2, term loan 3, etc., sanction letter, interest rate, and applied for, whether it has been fully applied. This will satisfy your requirement of verification of advances also. In this place, you can verify about sanctioned by maybe the division officer, or maybe the division manager, or maybe the regional manager, or maybe the zonal manager, ZCC, whatever it is, you can verify it here. Fill up there. What is the security? Primary security, what is it? What is the collateral security? Please fill up those information. Insurance. This is an important area of review and monitoring and supervision, because we see lots of accounts which have become put in subsequent years when the renewal insurance was not renewed at all. So description of asset, value, expiry, endorsement. If the bank's endorsement is not there, the insurance itself is of no use, because the money will be directly going to the borrower. Advance review process, whether the credit appraisal check is done, you please do the check independently, and if you are satisfied, put as yes here. Sanction in terms of that has been done, yes, yes, no. No means you please remark in your separate notebooks. Previous audit and AFI comments, annual financial inspection by the Reserve Bank of India, if they have given any comment, what all the reports which are there, you please mention it here. If the space is insufficient, please put a mark here and put it in your working note where is the note available. on all these things, DP register, legal, valuation. If you have all these things in a proper manner, you can do unit inspection. When was the last inspection of the unit? Please verify. Latest annual financial statements available. Because in the long form audit report, there is a question which was not earlier given, now it is available, whether the latest audited financial statements has been obtained from the borrower or not. Only on the basis of that, sanction has to be given. This is one checklist in respect of large advances. Same may go into the other advances. Other advances you may not be requiring so much details, but I have captured all the questions in the left hand side, and here the account numbers are there. Account number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can have your own number. Have you checked whether the branch has complied with the requirements of application of borrowers, etc.? Yes means tick it. No means no. You have the answers in some other places. So like that, you prepare a checklist for verification of advances, and all the questions in the long form audit report, you can list out those items and take a printout. I will share this checklist along with the question, along with the presentation. You can, I request the SIRC to circulate to all the people. So what are things in advances verification? Whether the delegated powers are properly followed, you have to examine. Whether the bank advance manual, circulars and guidelines have been properly followed or not. RBI guidelines. Because RBI says, as far as jewel loan is concerned, this is a very, very important. In fact, I was speaking to a couple of central statutory auditors also. What are the critical areas which you would like to mention to our members? They made it very clear. Please ask them to, in case of rural branches, ask them to go into the jewel loans in a detailed manner. Because jewel loan can be given only for 1 year in case of non-agree. In case of agree, it can be given only for 2 years. And after 2 years, it becomes non-performing in case of aggregate loans after a crop season. And what is a crop season? Depends on SLBC, State Level Banking Committee. Whether the branch has done all these things in a proper manner, we are supposed to verify. If it is not properly done, you have to examine. More than 2 lakhs, if a jewel loan is given, they are supposed to give the proof of having land. Otherwise, they are not supposed to give jewel loans at all. Agri jewel loans. I'm talking about agri jewel loans, more than 2 lakhs, they have to give chitta adangal of their respective lands. Then only they can take a loan of more than 2 lakhs. Please examine whether these RBI guidelines in respect of these items are followed or not. Borrower's proposal and respective credit file. Borrower gives a proposal. It is not that the bank manager gives a proposal. Borrower gives a proposal. Please go through that, and whether according to the proposal, all these examinations are being properly done by the respective branch, and also go to the credit file. On the credit file, the information will be available and recorded. Please go through that. RBI inspection report, concurrent audit report, inspection report of the respective head office. Head office onwards, they will send some, every 2 years there will be an inspection report. Whether any watch list is given there, special mentioned accounts. There is a report called SMA, SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. Then it becomes an NPA. The SMA is generated on any day as far as branch is concerned. Please go through the SMA of January and February of that particular year. And from that, you may be able to get the information whether any account is slipping into NPA or not. Please go through that. The reports are very much available. Go through the RBI inspection report. Very, very important, because most of the code of ethics and code of conduct cases are coming from this area, where the RBI says we have identified those accounts as incipient sickness. The branch auditors have not given any report at all. Please go through that. This is a ocean of information which will be available with you. As I told you, the refresher course for the audit team is definitely required. The accounting system for the bank and how the related internal controls are being verified, please examine that. And what are the certificates which you are given? And what is it? For example, take the case of interest subvention. Interest subvention, they will say that as far as aggregate loans is concerned, 4.5% interest subvention is being given. Let it be given. And immediately they will say the certificate is generated from the system, sir, we will not be able to verify. Unfortunately, what happens is, in one of the branches it has happened. They have mentioned on the basis of the loan sanction limit, they have straight away taken 4.5%, which is strong. There is a system available. Whatever be the interest charged to the borrower, on the same amount, you are eligible for 4.5% subvention. The interest subvention is being given only on the basis of branch auditor's report. Branch auditor's report is being consulted by the head office auditors and being given to the Reserve Bank of India for giving the subvention. Government of India for subvention, they give the subvention. Not only aggregate loan, even for housing loans, interest subvention is available. Whether those certificates you are verifying it properly or not, please verify that and then give it. Salient features of LFAR. All I have sufficiently dealt with in respect of LFIR. You are going to have a report to tomorrow by Gopal Krishna Raju. Please have the salient features of LFIR examined in a thorough manner and refreshed to the team. Because without knowing that, if they take up the work, they will not be able to do that. What is the audit procedure in a computerized environment? All of the us going to system and verify that audit is going to be through the system. When it is going to be through the system, our people are so used to have a ledger sheet and ticket, which is not going to happen in case of a bank audit. What is the audit procedure? Please train them on a proper manner. Instruct them not, see, once again, second, Mr. Vivek Krishna Govind is going to verify that how EDP is going to be helpful or how Excel sheet is going to be utilized. Examine that. Instruct them not to make any tick remarks in this document. Very, very important. Don't tick at all. Impress upon them, they are the ambassadors of not only for your firm, for the profession as a whole. So they are not supposed to go and misuse their position and utilize any of these activities, etc. Have the time divided, organize time effectively. First phase, second phase. First phase is when annual returns are on 2nd of month you go, 2nd of April you go. Most of the returns will not be ready. All the returns will be done only after 3-4 days. So on that day, what you can do? There are the areas which you can do when phase 1 and phase 2. What are all the things which will be happening in phase 1? Review all the large advances. Go through the verification. Verify the sample, other advances on sample basis. What are the samples which you are verifying? Please list out those items. Large advances, I have told you already what are all the things just verified by way of credit supervision, review monitoring supervision, and whether the documents are being obtained properly, credit appraisal has been done, sanction has been, all these things you can verify in this program are the large advances. In other advances, which are all the samples you verify, please examine whether it is being properly done. Review the accounts already identified by the branch as NPA. They have already identified as an NPA. Those items itself you have to verify. Why you have to verify? Maybe it is an NPA of the last year itself. It may be straight away slipping into loss asset or a doubtful asset. It need not be a substandard. Standard, substandard, doubtful 1, doubtful 2, doubtful 3. There is nothing like gradation. An asset today performing can become non-performing day after tomorrow. One asset which is performing today standard can become loss asset tomorrow. Take the case of an ILFS. On April 1st, it was a good account. On April 10th, it has become a loss asset just by 1 year. Take the case of Adani cases today. One report, it generates a huge issue in case of a particular party. You will have to examine those items. Review of the previous year NPA and check up what has been already reported in NPA last year cannot have been upgraded to standard assets unless and otherwise. There's a very, very clear instruction by the Reserve Bank of India. When an account becomes substandard to standard, when the entire arrears is fully wiped off, it can become a standard. Entire irregularity is totally wiped off. It is not sufficient to cover only the overdues. It is not sufficient. It has to be fully covered up. The Bank of India circular is very, very clear. Please examine that. So last year NPA, it cannot be a performing asset automatically. RBI HO inspection report would have been given for sticky accounts. Go through that. In respect of those items, you also go and verify it in detail. Review the quality of credit appraisal can be done. Study all accounts in watch list and SMA, very, very important. Check stock statements. That is available. For the whole year, you can examine that. CMI data. Wherever large advances are given, whether the CMI data and the actual performance is properly linked. For example, in the month of April 2022, they would have given a CMI data and taken a sanction also. Subsequently, they should have taken an AFS, audited financial statement, they should have taken in the month of September or October 22. Please ask for that. Compare that with this. If the projection is of 100 crores and they have achieved only 50 crores, obviously there is a over limit sanction that has been brought down. All these things can be done in phase 1. Phase 2, obviously, you don't have time to verify the statements itself. That itself will take a longer duration. Please verify that. Audit techniques. What are audit techniques? Review all the exception reports, because as far as the bank audit system is concerned, excuse me, the exception report give you a bundle of information. It is being generated on a daily basis and kept. What are the exception reports? CC accounts, which is going into debit balances, or current accounts going into credit balances, credits in expenditure account, debits in income account, all these things comes under exception reports. You go through that, you may be able to have it's a gold mine actually. Exception reports is the gold mine. You take that expenditure reports, from that you can verify that. Obtain an overall understanding of CBS and then compared with the operations of the branch. Key controls are under dual operation, which is very, very important. This has a significant impact in your internal control mechanism itself. We are also giving an internal financial control reporting as far as branches are concerned. So please examine whether the key controls are in dual custody as far as branch is concerned. Take the data file from them in a text form or SDF form, or then you convert it into Excel. From that, you may be able to take it, because obviously you may not be able to verify the bank audit report, everything in the system itself. Ask them to convert into a format, then convert into Excel. Probably the third day's session is very, very important for this. Go through that and examine that. Have an SQL. Audit module of CBS environment gives a lot of audit features because they don't give. Moreover, please understand, when you take up the what do you call access control, access verification, don't take their access. There will be a specific audit thing which is without any amending clause. You cannot go and touch any amendment because you are not supposed to do any corrections in the system. You are supposed to have only viewing technique. So auditors and stat auditors will be given one exclusive user ID password. Ask for that and take it. The day one itself you ask for it, because then only they will take it from the regional office and keep it. They will be having it, but they will not would like to share. They will say that I will have taken approval from the bank regional office. Let them take it and give it to you. How do you compile the report? So once again, compiling report is very, very important. There is a short form which is available, audit report. There is a long form which is available as far as all the detailed contents are concerned. Once you fill up the long form audit report itself, you are 100% sure that if you do it properly, if you do the long form audit report filling up properly, you can be rest assured that audit is properly done, because it starts with cash and ends with other liabilities and contingent liabilities. Please understand, long form audit reports are very, very methodical format of report. Cash on bank, cash on hand, cash with other banks, Reserve Bank of India, balance, money and call and short notice. It has advances, it has other assets, it has other liabilities, income, expenditure, any other matter. What else you want to have as a checklist? If you answer these questions properly, you can be rest assured that you have done the audit in a proper manner. And tax audit report, wherever it is applicable, many banks it is not applicable, wherever it is applicable, go through that. If it is there, please examine and keep it. Take the management representation also in respect of those items. Certificates. So what are all the certificates you are giving by way of interest subvention, etc. Compile the report and keep it with you. When you have a working paper, you keep the working paper in a separate. Have a linking of this working paper with this. Have a number for working paper and refer it in the certificate, so that you will be able to verify it at any point of time. Discuss the report with the management. Without discussing, don't give any report at all, because without discussing your report, and subsequently regional office will come and say that, sir, all these things are very much available, you have wrongly given a report. They will say that, I will say that stock statement has not been obtained. If you don't discuss the management, the branch management will take it, the long form report from the draw and give it to you. Subsequently, it's dangerous. You say that the valuation report is 3 years old, so it is better to write off the asset because there is no valuation at all. You can write that without discussing with them. If you give that, they will give subsequently at the head office level. Then they will ask you to revise the report. Revision of an audit report, you will have to go for a fresh UDIN. Please understand. And whenever you revise the audit report, not only the report, MOC also has to be changed. For once again, you have to justify why this MOC is changed. You give a memorandum of changes, and subsequently you have to give a revised MOC once again. They will come and say, sir, after all, the MOC only has to be modified, sir. You don't have to bother. Please understand, in the main audit report, we are reporting the MOC figure. Previously, it was not the case. 4 years back, it was not the case. Now, in the main audit report, we are mentioning about the MOC figures. If the MOC was nil earlier and you are going to change now, or MOC was 1 lakh earlier, now you are going to make nil, the audit report also has to be revised. So please ensure that you discuss with the management in a proper manner, complete that, and then give a report. Avoid vague and general comments. CSAs are compelling me to report in all the places. Don't give just yes, no answers. Please give it in full detail. It is not at all sufficient to give that report. Please go through that and give a detailed report. UDIN is mandatory, obviously. For audit report, one certificate, and all other things, one more certificate. If the tax audit is there, one more UDIN. Okay. UD has to be different per assignment, per signature. That's all. Bank project, one branch is one assignment. Hence, one UD is sufficient for all. But tax audit is there, you have to have one more UD. That's all. Otherwise, there is no problem at all. Please ensure that all the certificates have the same UD filled up and do the needful. Wherever it is electronically done, no issues. It will automatically pick it up from that. But one UD has to be created and then please do the report. As I already told you, for tax audit, if it is there, you have to have a separate UD. Please understand once again, UD will have to be revised once again if you are going to give a new report. So don't think of revision in report at all at any point of time. You have to be very strong and confident in what you are giving it as a report. On that basis, you have to give a UD. You cannot generating one UD for all the certificates. Common figures and parameters should be given in all the mandatory fields because it is easier for verifying that. Please ensure that it is being properly done. Somebody has questioned once again one UD for the entire branch for the entire assignment. For tax audit report alone, one no UD. That's all. I'm making it very clear. Code of Ethics 2019. Without talking on this, no lecture will be complete. So please understand Code of Ethics 2019, which was earlier also available. Now it is revised. Please ensure that without verifying this, we cannot work. There is an objectivity and professional skepticism now. Previously, it was not the case. Even if you have the smallest doubt in respect of any particular verification, take the professional skepticism and go into that in detail. Because once you have a doubt or element of doubt is being created, please ensure it is being verified in full without having any gap. For example, in a particular transaction, audit of a particular CC account, you get a doubt that stock statement is slightly fudged or the stock statement is same figure in the entire 12 months. You get a doubt. Please ask for the information, have a professional skepticism and examine whether that stock statement is regularly verified, monitored. The concurrent directors who's going there is verifying physically or not. Physical verification of insecurities is not our responsibility. Somebody asked a question in between whether physical verification of security has to be done. As a statutory auditor, you are not under compulsion to do a physical verification of security. But at the same time, once you get a professional skepticism, you have a doubt in any particular item, please go for a physical verification. Nobody can stop you from physical verification of security. But at the same time, you cannot keep on going for verification of every other item because if you keep going for that, your audit will not be able to be completed. So wherever you have a suspicion and you require that account can be verified, please go for it. Otherwise, there is no requirement. COE relevance to bank audit. To the extent of Code of Ethics for bank audit, I am giving you communication with previous auditor. No clause for the time being, it has been exempted, but still ensure that wherever other laws and regulations are there, please examine that. This is very, very important. Self-interest threat. Identify the threats which are there in case of self-interest as well as business interest. What are self-interest? Direct interest by way of you introducing the clients or clients introducing you. There is possibility. Proposals you are given to the same branch. In that situation, what will happen is your review threat is there. But because in this particular case, you have given a loan proposal and you have taken a loan also, the same branch is coming up for an audit. There is every possibility you tend to skip this particular item without proper verification. Please examine. That should not happen. So self-interest threat is very, very important. Close business relationship with the branch officials. You have any other business services relationship with them, that also please examine. Any temporary personalization, for example, TDS returns filing, etc. If you are doing for the particular branch, please examine that you don't do that or don't do this. One of these items, don't do that. If any of your subordinates, if any of your staff has a relative in a particular branch, don't send that staff for the audit. Don't send, not only for that branch, any other branch for that matter. For example, if one of my apprentices is related to an Indian bank chief manager and I am allotted Indian bank, I should not send that staff for the bank audit at all, because definitely there will be a self-interested review that will happen. Don't send that. This, how do you determine, sir? Normally in SQC1, when you take an apprentice itself, you are supposed to take a letter of independence. where is their father's recruit working, etc. You would have taken that information. On that basis, you can examine and you can isolate them from audit team, and they are not supposed to be part of the audit team. Branch information used for personal gains. If you have done an audit and you utilize it for personal gains, it is going to be very, very dangerous. Loans taken from the bank on your own name or in firm name or any other interested parties, that is also dangerous. It will have a self-interest rate. What is familiarity threat? It may not be relevant for bank audit, but there is every possibility there. I'll tell you. For example, appointment is done by Reserve Bank of India. From that, head office bank is being appointed. But what happens is, when there is a probable familiarity threat which is possible, or during the audit you come and propose a loan and that is being given, independence threat will be definitely dangerous. So please understand, familiarity threat is not coming into the picture when you do a bank branch audit. The next threat is very, very important, intimidation threat. I would like to spend some extra time on this because very many chartered accountants have come and said that, sir, there is an intimidation threat which is happening in respect of these places. Threatening of removal of an engagement. If you don't revise this MOC, you will be definitely not appointed for the next year. Please understand, if there is a genuine MOC and if you don't give an MOC, you may be removed from the engagement next year. The intimidation which is done by the branch management is wrong. It is not the case, actually. But if there is a genuine MOC and if you are not giving the MOC, there is every possibility you may not get the appointment next year because of the Reserve Bank of India intervention. So please understand, this particular branch manager does not have any authority to remove your engagement if you are technically strong. But at the same time, you go and tell the branch manager, I am appointed by Reserve Bank of India. You have to fall at my feet and you have to do for all these items. You don't have any other option. You have to follow whatever I say. That sort of thing will not happen in the respective branch audit. Because you are not the big boss. At the same time, once you are strong on your technical matter, you can be rest assured that nobody can touch your engagement. You will not be removed. You can be rest assured. Don't get pressurized by the particular branch manager or through his borrower also. You are not required to budge. You can be rest assured saying that my statement, provided your judgment is right, provided your technical matter is strong, you are very clear that this account is becoming an NPA only, you please stick to that. Unless and otherwise, a real contradictory information is provided by the example. I will share 2 or 3 examples because always I understand that only by way of an example people understand better. There is a particular loan which has been sanctioned by the head office. It has expired in the month of May 2022. Expired by in the month of May 2022. In May 2022, head office says the the account is temporarily reviewed. You can go for another 3 months. After that, we will complete the review and proposal. June, July, August. By August 22, it has totally expired. If they don't renew it by August 22, the account is definitely becoming an NPA on September 22. No other option. Not September, October, November. November 22, the 3rd month, it becomes NPA. Because once an account is not renewed, the drawing power becomes 0. And once drawing power becomes 0, balance outstanding in excess of drawing power for more than 3 months, it becomes an NPA. It's a straight point. But what they will come up with a solution is, sir, from head office, I will get a sanction today, sir. Please understand, my dear friends, with folded hands, I will tell you, events occurring after the date of balance sheet is not applicable for bank audit. RBI is very, very clear. These events occurring at the date of balance sheet is not accepted. They are sending notices to auditors saying that why this account was not classified as NPA as on 31st of March. There is a classic case where on 7th of April at the time of audit, they have collected huge amount and it has become performing only on 7th of April. There is a notice given to one of our friends auditors from the Reserve Bank of India saying that why you have not classified as an NPA. For that, we have given, that particular party has given a letter saying that on the basis of events occurring after the date of balance sheet data, he said nothing doing, but we pardon you. What you have done is a mistake only, but we pardon you. But please understand, this should not happen in future. What does it mean? Events occurring after the date of balance sheet is not having any relevance at all. One place it is acceptable. For example, on 31st of March, an account is becoming an NPA. On 7th of April, they come and fully settle the loan. In that situation, you can give a LFR point and leave it like that. That's all. Because it is account is fully closed. There is nothing to report as an NPA. But other than that, you don't have any other option to say that an account is becoming NPA means it is an NPA only. Acceptance of a gift or inducements. Please understand, both gift receiving and inducement is dangerous. For example, they are taking to a client's place for inspection and they give you a lot of gifts and mementos. Dangerous, don't accept it. But at the same time, your students are going for an inspection of a nuts and spices factory and they give one packet of badam. That is not going to be an inducement. But a huge gift, which is beyond what is expected of a normal understanding people, it is not acceptable. It is an intimidation threat. By giving this, they are trying to purchase you. Please understand that. Without that, don't do that. Please ensure that you keep yourself away from that. Self-review threat. Once again, this may not be relevant for bank audits. The professionals are not involved. But at the same time, if I have done as a TDS compliance in the last year, I am going to verify that in case of a tax audit report, it's going to be a serious issue. If I have given some proposal, once again, I am supposed to do the review. That also is going to be dangerous. May not be. In all the cases, it is not there. In some cases, it can be there. Advocacy threat. Once again, I am telling you both side of it. It may not be relevant, but at the same time, it can have an implication. There is a possibility. Please ensure that you don't take any temporary personal assignments from them so that you keep yourself away from all these things. So these five threats are the threats which have been contemplated. Ensure that the threats are not being endangering your audit assignment. That is what you can't. I can't say that I will not do the audit. Don't ensure that it is not affecting your audit technique. 230 audit documentation. Once again, third day there is a topic on documentation, but my topic is also audit planning and documentation. So let me go through that. As far as 230 is concerned, it is making it very clear what is audit documentation, record of audit procedures performed, relevant audit evidence obtained, and conclusions reached by the auditor. Apart from that, there is who is a maker, who is a checker, review maker and reviewer. This also has to be recorded. So whichever area you are verifying that, please ensure that these three records are being properly done contemporaneously. Don't expect the audit documentation to be done after the audit is over. When you are doing the audit, you have to fill up. If you are preparing a checklist, fill up the checklist at that point of time. Because you change it subsequently, you are going to have a serious problem because you might not get any cooperation from the branch management once you sign off. Once you, and moreover, one more important point which I would like to tell is this particular branch manager, you may not be see him in your life at all in future. So in that situation, why should you obligate him? Don't consider any obligation to him at all, unless you have a personal interest. So personal interest does not have any relevance for the branch audit. Please be rest assured. So please ensure that the documentations contemporaneously are recorded at that point of time when you are doing the audit. So when you do an audit itself, please fill up. Don't do it subsequently. This is more of an essay. I don't want to do that in a proper manner. But only thing is, if you have this documentation properly, only you may be able to provide evidence that you have verified that. Why this is happening is, there is a classic case in one of the branches where an account has become a fraudulent activity. That year, concurrent auditor was also given notice. Branch statutory auditor was also given notice, saying that explain whether you have verified this account in a proper manner or not. The statutory auditor was able to overcome it because he had what you call the documents to prove that he has verified all those items, whereas concurrent auditor could not support because he has not verified the unit in a periodical manner which he is supposed to do. The account has become a fraudulent activity in case of a CC account. Statutory auditor escaped in the code of conduct cases. Concurrent auditor was punished because the documentation was not sufficiently maintained. Please ensure that it is properly done. What is the form of documentation? Paper, working paper, borrowing statements. Borrowing statement of accounts definitely required. an account which is almost an NPA, but not an NPA. Because on the month of February and March, they have remitted lot of accounts, lot of monies. Solitary of few credits. In the NPA class, probably you will be hearing the same thing from IRAC norms. Solitary of few credits in the account need not be classifying it as a standard, can be classified as substandard. So in that situation, whether the solitary or few credits, if it is coming at the end of the year, you have to see it with a suspicion. See it with a professional skepticism, whether these credits are genuine credits. If you go to the same account subsequently in the month of April, probably these credits would have been once again debited also. Please examine that. When you ask for the statement of accounts, don't ask for the statement of accounts till 31st of March. Ask for the statement of accounts till the date of audit. Say, for example, it will be 5th or 6th of April. For a particular party's current account, download it, keep it with you. That is going to be the borrower statement of accounts. Whether to classify as a performing asset or a non-performing asset. For coming to that conclusion, borrower statement of accounts is required. Same way, that also helps you in identifying whether the disbursements are according to the statute, according to the sanction letter. For example, in case of housing loan, the repayment disbursement has to make in a phased manner, and that also should go to the builder's place only. If it is credited to the SBI account, it's going to be seen with a suspicion and also professional skepticism. Same way NPA computation fees. In one of the branches where we did the audit some 6 years back, they were not providing the NPA computation sheet of the previous year. They did not have it. They did not have it. So what we had to do is, in the NPA computation statement, opening balance, the total figure matched with the last year NPA. That's all. But since the working sheet is not available, we put a standard mark there and gave a disclaimer in the NPA statement. The breakup of the opening balances category wise, etc., could not be verified in the absence of the relevant working paper of the previous year. However, the current year, this calculation has been verified according to the current year status. I examined and we did some reclassification and left it like that. When we came to the regional office, they wanted us to change the disclaimer. I said, it is not possible. They said that they will give a statement today. Sir, the statement is given today. It is not of any use. It was not available at that point of time. And the branch manager has also signed below the disclaimer. Now we cannot come and say that they will give a statement. It is not possible because I will not be able to verify that statement once again. We had to come out like that only. So NPA computation sheets of the previous year and current year should be part of your working paper. Any other supporting working paper, for example, stock statements, valuation report. Whenever an NPA valuation changing, you want to have the valuation report, you can take the copy of the valuation report. Certificates for interest subventions, etc. When you give a certificate, whether the certificates, backups, supporting papers, you can take it forward. All these things need not be only papers. It can be electronic files also, system files also. The exception reports, important. Exception reports, which shows SMA 0, 1, 2. So 1 and 2, the SMA was 0 of January itself will have become NPA in the current year, in March. So SMA 0, 1, 2, you have to examine whether it is being slipped into NPA subsequently. That has to be done. Snapshots. For example, what do you mean by a snapshot? I'm just telling you classic examples, my dear friends. I cannot give an example for everything and anything. I'm just giving a classic example. An account is becoming inoperative. You go and force it to operate. It should ask for the secondary signature for approving. Otherwise, it should not allow it. If it allows it, you can take a snapshot of it and say that this system is not working properly. Why happening? Why this is? Inoperative accounts is a classic area where lots of frauds happen. Need not be inoperative SB account. It can be inoperative CSP account, inoperative current account, inoperative PPF accounts. These are the areas where lots of frauds happen. So please examine 1 or 2 items. And if you are satisfied, you can take a snapshot and keep it with you. If you don't satisfied also, you can take a snapshot and report it also. So snapshots are I'm just telling you a classic example. Need not be the same example. Education loans. What will happen is, in respect of education loans, the sanction would have been done in 2020 with 2-year holiday period. So the first date of payment starts from April 2022. As on 31st of March 2023, they should have recovered at least 12 installments. What they will do is they will go and change. It is possible. Please understand. They will change the date of. Please understand. I don't know how many of you know this. The NPA calculation is not done to the date of first installment. It is calculated from the date of last installment. For example, a sanction is given in 2020 with 5 years installment. First installment falls on April 22. So the last installment falls on March 27. So they will go and change the last date of installment instead of 3/27, they will make a 3/28. Then when you prepare the NPA sheet, it will be saying that it is coming within the standard assets only. Sir, how do you examine this, sir? By stretch of periodical examination of various jewel loans, education loans, etc., you may be able to get a grip of the subject. One. Number two, if you go to the exception report, in the exception report, where all the dates have been modified, it will give a report. Unfortunately or fortunately, the system is so very clear that it will give all the reports, all the corrections which is being made during this year. In the audit report, audit module, you go to the audit module, examine whether any basic data has been rectified. It will give you a report. From that, you can examine and say that these are the areas just for confirming that. You please take the snapshots of the respective accounts and keep it with you, because snapshots will have the date stamping of the respective system. If you go to this particular system, it will give you the date stamping, also today date stamping. That is very, very important, because it is a contemporaneous evidence which is going to help you. It is not the subsequent evidence which is going to help you. What are the examples of branch audit documentation? Because when I say documentation, what all the documents just happen? Audit plan, audit programs, which I have sufficiently explained. Checklist for long form audit report. Long form audit report itself is a checklist, but you prepare a checklist for that. On that basis, you verify NPA verification. See, www.caconline.org is a website. Please note down that in this website only, we upload our, I have been publishing the book for more than 15 years. Last few years, I am not doing the publishing because there is not much of a change at all, because there is no requirement of book publishing. I'm not doing that. But the checklist alone, we update and put it in the website so that you can download it. It is free download only. It is for the purpose of benefit of the members. Please note down this, this thing. I have not uploaded for the current year. I am doing it shortly. After that, you can go through and take the where 10 checklists are available. You can, it's a very, very friendly checklist. You can go through that. Analysis step. In case of ratio analysis, in case of interest variations, etc., wherever the advances are increasing, interest income also increase. When the deposits are increasing, interest on deposits also increase. There can be a change. But what is the change? How it is changing? For example, this year, when the deposit is increasing, interest was increasing. 3 years back, when the deposit was increasing, expenditure was reducing. The reason was interest rate reduction. Second issue is, most of the deposits will come at the end of the year. You also have to go and verify whether the window dressing is there. Whether any window, that is, first week of April, it has gone out. Whether it has happened, you are supposed to report. In the long format, there is a question. So this sort of analysis, you can take download and keep it with you. Suspense items, very, very important. The suspense can be both debit and credit. Suspense data, suspense data, both can be there. So wherever there are suspenses, what is the nature of suspense? It can be electricity deposit, it can be rental deposit, it can be travel advance, it can be advance given to officers who are on transfers. The person who have got transfer 3 years back, but still advance can be hanging here. As I told you in the first stage, advance or fixed asset. All these things are suspenses. Please ensure that you take the backup of those papers. SA 580, letter of representation, TDS, frauds, contingent liabilities. Immediately the question will come from the audience. Sir, no branch is giving the letter of representation. No. In the Andhra Bank, if you take the case previously, now it is merged with the Bank of Baroda, there is a standard letter itself, bank representation, which the manager is supposed to sign and give it. Canara Bank, they will not give. These are two classic examples which I would like to mention. But in Canara Bank also, I have prepared the checklist and given to them, took an acknowledgement from them and said that he is not willing to sign it. He has given it in writing. I am not able to give a certificate because head office has instructed not to give it. He has given it in writing and kept it. But only thing is, we have the satisfaction of representing what are the critical areas that we give, including TDS, frauds, contingent liabilities. There are no contingent liabilities other than what contingent liability has been mentioned. Because obviously, we will not be able to say what is contingent liability at all as far as this branch is concerned, unless they come forward and give us the information. Correspondences including significant matters. For example, there is a huge famine, huge famine or drought, whichever is happening in case of a rural branch you are doing. So whenever a drought or famine has happened, there will be correspondence between the zonal officers and the state level banking committees. There may be some exchange of information. On that basis, they are given that these accounts need not be classified as a non-performing asset, depending upon specific area of drought hit area or famine drought hit area. That mail correspondence you can download and keep it. Ask for the mail copy and you can download it. That you can keep it. Because this is important for you to depend on future working paper. This is one example. The other example is particularly one particular borrower is there. He has accumulated some export credits. The money has not come. You are asking him to provide for that. He has already sent a letter to the Reserve Bank of India for getting that money with a permission. That is 180 days over. I am talking about export debtors. 180 days is over. They have got a permission from Reserve Bank of India, and subsequently the borrower has also made the payment. In those cases, you can take the copy of the email copy and keep it with you. This will support you in case of future issue if at all anything happens. Letter of representation compulsorily required. The format of representation is available in caconline.org. You can go through that and download it. As I told you, housekeepings, once again, all the working papers, what work was done and by whom. Who has done what is the work? Who has done? What is the explanation taken? What is the information given? Who has given it? For example, I am asking for the branch manager to explain why there is a variation in the interest calculation. Answer should not be given by a clerk. Answer should be given by the respective manager only. It should not be given by a clerk. Same way, in case there are some banks where there are two branch managers. One is administration manager, another is advances manager. Question which has to be given answered by advances manager, administration manager should not give. So please examine who has given the explanation, whether he is eligible authority to give it. What are the decisions taken at various points? Who are all taking there? For example, we are taking a decision that unoperative accounts are operating properly. There is no control. Who is taking the decision? This particular account is not a non-performing asset. We have concluded. Who has concluded? Sundarajan has concluded. On what basis? These are the following basis. Keep it a note and keep it with you. This will help you in future whenever you have a serious issue. This is what I want to mention, that housekeeping and working papers will help you in case of future. And more than that, the last point is very, very important. It will become the basis of drafting the audit report. Because when you prepare the draft audit report, it says that everything is true and fair. There is no issues at all. All the financial statements are perfectly right. Except there are 2-3 points which you want to mention, you can mention. They will automatically have 3 items. One is by salaries, wages, bonus, etc., which is done at head office. Provisioning for standard advances, which is done at head office. Like that, they will automatically fill up. Apart from that, if you have anything specific, you can definitely mention that. But only from seeing the working paper, you might be able to ascertain whether the supervision is properly done, whether any other auditors or staff are required to be verified, or what they have done, we are supposed to verify. You can look at it. Otherwise, it is not possible. Please keep the working papers in a proper manner. Working papers is the property of yours. Nobody else can touch. Nobody can come and ask for it except the regulator. Either Reserve Bank of India or Institute of Chartered of India. One of these people can ask for the working paper. Nobody else can ask for the working paper. It's the property of yours. Number 2, it has to be maintained for 7 years from the date of signing, not from the 7 years from the end of the financial year. You are signing the audit report of 31st of March 2023, but you are signing on 15th of April. You are supposed to maintain the document till 15th of April 2030. Until then, you are supposed to maintain. Otherwise, after that, this can be destroyed. There is no problem. Useful when answering queries. In case of unfortunate situation of disciplinary committee, we will be able to answer only from the working papers. I am coming to the summary, because what I have already explained is sufficiently available. The program I am informed is between 5 to 8, but I am sure that nobody can have the attention for more than 2 or 2.5 hours. Already 2 hours is over. So I will have question and answer session also, because lots of chat questions are there. So the summarize the entire program. I will say that please do a planning of your audit in a proper manner. You have the manpower designated for that. Do the training of the manpower. Allocate them the respective work. If A is going to do the following work, please ensure that he does the work after understanding. Without understanding, don't allot any work to anybody else. Let it be first year subordinate, second year subordinate, third year subordinate, or senior chartered accountant also. All of us have to be trained for ascertaining whether the work is being properly done or not. So planning is very, very important. After planning, structure the activity. Please structure. You are starting on 2nd. You are doing it's the first phase. So from 2nd to 6th, you will be going through all the large advances and other advances. 7th, they were expecting the returns to be given. 7th to 9th, you will verify the return. In the meantime, I will keep filling up the LFAR also. LFIR consists of certain statistical information. That statistical information can be taken only after the return is ready. Until the returns are ready, you cannot fill up the statistical information. But certificates, like inter-submission, like your stand and core committee recommendations, etc., Josh and Jilani recommendations, all these things you can fill up. There's no problem. All these things are routine nature. So what all can be done in the first phase, you can do it. What all can be shifted to second phase, you can. But both the items have to be simultaneous. Important item. Don't sign the financials first and wait for LFR the lend. Because once you sign the financials, from the next moment, you will not even have a cup of coffee from the branch. Because their subject is over. Once the financial statements are signed with the audit report and send it to the regional office, the subject is over. Because LFIR is not going to be consolidated today. CSS also will not be asking for an LFIR immediately. So you will be in a serious problem. You will not get any information from the long form report. Please ensure that it is being completed in a proper manner. Train the manpower, advance also on the on-site. Because actually speaking, I had this experience in my 30 years of practice. The students are going and blinking actually. They are not able to, because what they are seeing in our office by way of ERP or a case of a tally, that is not going to be there literally. They don't even understand how it is being monitored, because the branch management itself is not aware of certain things which is available in information technology. So please train them properly, guide them properly, tell them very clearly what is asset, what is a liability, what is an advance, how the advance has to be classified as performing, non-performing, what is aggregate advance, what is priority sector advance. All these things you have to explain them fully in advance. And what is the danger of not filling the items in a proper manner is very, very important. More than how to fill up, how not to fill up is very, very important. Please ensure that they are trained in a proper manner and guide them also. Help them in preparing the checklist and ensure that the checklists are filled up in a proper manner also, so that you will get the final information. Exercise due diligence. It's a very, very, very loose statement, but very, very significant statement. When you do an audit, you presume a lot of things. See, all said and done, I am very, very firm and clear that we as auditors have always a third eye. I'm damn sure even the dumbest of the dumbest chartered ones has a third eye. Once you keep discussing with one particular person, definitely there will be a lingering thought. There is some issue in this particular issue. Try to capture that particular item. Once you do that, then go to the verification and go at due diligence, because due diligence is very, very important when you go through the documents, because without proper verification, you presume what are all they are giving as branch is right and take sign. It is not acceptable. Because please ensure your due diligence, because when they say that is a system generated statement, it will not be a system generated statement at all. An Excel sheet or Word file or PDF file, everything will be looking like same. It does not say that it is generated from the system by any stretch of imagination, unless we see on the system and the printout is same. Or you take a download of it and do it. Please exercise due diligence. Same way, in case of advances verification, please exercise due diligence. Is there any catch in any of these sanctions? Recently, one particular branch has been caught on a wrong foot. One particular period of 6 months, that particular branch manager has increased the advances in a terrible manner, and he has been given accreditation as one of the best performing manager. 9th month, he has been hauled up by Central Bureau of Investigation for doing a lot of fraudulent sanctions. So at this 6 months, if you fall at that particular date, you are going to be a sick problem. Unfortunately, we will not be able to come out of any of this issue unless you see items with a due diligence. Please examine anything and everything which is unusual is definitely a cause for suspicion. It is not that we have to go with a suspicion, but at the same time, there is a difference between suspicion and professional skepticism. You please go through the papers and examine whether anything substantially wrong can happen. For example, in case of a working capital loan, all along the turnover is only 3 crores. Suddenly they are coming and giving an offer that it is going to be increased to 25 crores this year and ask for a 10 crores loan, and the branch also gives it. Don't you have to get a small suspicion saying that how it can happen like this? There is also a possibility it is possible. For example, take the case of an engineering college. They have started a medical college this 3 years back. Till last year, the turnover would have been only 20 crores. This year, the turnover will definitely touch 40 crores because they are going to get 100 seats of medical college. for which approval will be available, for which admissions would have started, all these things would have happened. But only thing is, only if you have a professional skepticism, you can ask for the information and examine. Otherwise, you will not be able to examine. So please keep your eyes and ears and mind antenna to keep it open when you do the audit, so that excess due diligence for getting the audit in a proper manner. Complete on a timely manner is obviously not only we will be under pressure, the branch management is also under pressure. So take your planned time accordingly, you will have to go. Wherever there is a gap which is available, escalate the matter to both your regional office and also your concerned central statutory auditor. There will be one central statutory auditor allotted for hundreds of branches. You talk to the respective regional auditors that this is not coming. For example, in one particular case, we had to ask the regional auditor to talk to the information technology people to say, give the password. 3 days they did not give a password in one of those years. They have pushed them and they gave the password, and then we started the work. Until then, we were seeing only the back office papers. We were not able to sit on the system at all. So that will be possible. They will be able to explain that. Interact with the business manager. See, branch management discussion is very, very important, but interact in a professional manner. He will give cock and bull stories. Don't listen to that. He will talk stories about crow. We don't want to. Kaka, crow, we should not. We are not interested. Let us be very, very professional, but you interact. You give your inputs. Ask for information in writing. Let them not say anything oral. What is given in oral evidence is of no relevance at all at a later date. Sir, the branch management said like this, sir. I also accepted, sir. Dangerous. I am handling a case right on my hand of a branch statutory auditor who have not examined certain items in a proper manner. We are fighting it. It's possible to fight provided you have an information. If you don't have an information on your end, interact with the branch management, take their responses in writing, and then go ahead with the audit. Otherwise, it's going to be a serious problem. You compile and submit the report in one stroke. Don't have it today. After 2 days, you come and give it another report. Nothing doing, because once you may sign the main financial report and give it to them, after that you will not get any sort of cooperation from the branch management at all. So please do it in a proper manner. Compile it together and sign it. And when you sign it, you have the checklist sent from the head office. These are all the certificates you are supposed to give. So many number of copies. Everything you keep it readily and sign off. Sign off at one stroke. Signature of any bank branch audit itself takes around 3.5 to 4 hours. I'm surprised there are certain chartered ones who are able to complete the audit in 2 days and come. I am surprised. Not even a smallest of the smallest branch will be able to be done in 2 days. It is not possible. Absolutely not possible. Particularly in view of the present scenario of long form audit report, you will not be able to complete any audit within 2 days at all. I dare openly make this statement because I have seen umpteen number of branch audits and umpteen number of central statutory auditors who are finding it difficult. Please understand, it is not possible to do the audit in 2 years. So please compile and submit the audit report in a cohesive manner. Sign all the reports at a simultaneous at one stroke and then give the report. Collect the working paper at that time itself. Whenever you want to have the working paper, please collect it at that time. Don't postpone it. Subsequently, you will not be able to get any information from them at all. Once you are out of the branch, you may not be able to enter the branch at all because they will not be able to give it. Auditing itself is stressful job nowadays. Any auditing for that matter. And bank auditing is more and more stressful. At the same time, I'm saying happy auditing. How is it possible? Having married to the ghost, you cannot say that it is going to be hit or not. We are married to the ghost. We are supposed to do the audit. We are supposed to respond. We are appointed. We are only taking the audit. Who compelled you to take up the audit of the RBI? We only took it up because all said and done. Please understand, this is one of the most lucrative job which any chartered one can do it. Very, very lucrative by all such of imaginations. Smallest of the smallest branches give you lakh and 50,000 rupees audit. Then what else we look forward? When you are picking up a scale one branch, the fees is anywhere between 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. What else you can look for? For 10 days, you are getting an amount of 3 lakhs, 3.5 lakhs. Definitely, it is lucrative job. So, at least to that extent, because of the lump sum amount, and moreover, once you complete the audit and file the report, within 15 days to 1 month, the money is coming and hitting your bank account. Which client is paying that sort of fees nowadays? First of all, nobody is paying that sort of fees. Number one. Second issue, they are not paying that promptly. This bank is one area where you can definitely do the audit fees in a proper manner, and you have the liberty. In a client's place, in a normal client's place, you may not be having the liberty. Whenever you are saying that you are going to qualify, the client will come and raise a question, sir, don't do this, sir, that will happen. Here also it will happen, but you can straightforwardly say, no, my appointing authority is Reserve Bank of India. They have given a set of guidelines. I am supposed to do only according to the guidelines. You cannot give a guideline to me. That thing may not be possible in case of your private client. So please ensure that when you are having the tool and authority to do that, please exercise it. If you don't exercise that, it is not going to be happening. Now I'm getting just a message from L. Santan Ram, my very good friend, who is also saying that fees has been increased by 10%. I got the information yesterday. That's why I shared it. Now there is a flash news that audit fees is increased. Already it is sufficiently lucrative. With 10% increase in audit fees, will definitely furthermore lucrative. So please do a happy auditing, but without doing all the earlier steps, if you do the auditing, it might not end up in a happy auditing. It might be having a chaotic auditing, which I don't want to happen. Each and every one of are here to do an auditing in a proper manner. None of us want to do an improper audit, but at the same time, because of the various pressures and pushes which will happen, we tend to skip. Please don't do that. The pressures will not have work on you on this methodology. Thank you very much for your patient listening. There are lots of questions which I say, if somebody can help me out to read in the questions, I will. This is my mail ID, sundar@srbr.in. You can note down this mail ID. caconline.org is the website. We are not yet uploaded the checklist. We are not uploaded the checklist. So you don't have to bother about that for the time being. But I will send this material circulated to SIRC. They will be circulating to you. From that, you may be able to take the website. Don't bother. As far as my mail ID is concerned, you can note down this mail ID. If you have any questions, either now or during the audit or subsequent to the audit also, you can just forward the mail to me. You may get the information in 24 hours. I may not be able to, I'm not that tech savvy to respond immediately, but within 24 hours, I will be able to do it, because at that time, I may be part of the panel which is being followed by the Institute of Science of India also, where I will be sending a lot of replies to the various queries. So I might be delayed by an hour, a day or two. You can please send the mail to me. I will be able to respond to you in case you feel that I may be able to throw some clarification on that. With all humility and submissions, I would like to mention that I am only one among you as learners of the subject. But the subject has been learned so much over a period of 25-30 years. There is not much of a change at all. But only thing is, there is one change which is significant, which is professional skepticism and issues on auditors, because public's perspective on auditors have changed totally different. So please ensure that that perspective, you are not affecting your integrity, and ensure that you do an audit in a proper manner. Thank you very much for patient listening. I don't know how many of you are listening still. This is the disadvantage of what you call virtual meeting. Arun, I am through with my question and answer session. If you have any questions, which is a lot of things are there, I saw in the chat box, you can read it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Somebody will help me out with the questions. Thank you very much from the SIRC. There is a clap which is going on, because all these things are becoming virtual nowadays.
Sir, is there any question, sir?
I see a lot of questions which are chatting coming on the chat box. Somebody has to.
But it is not visible for me. I think any backend people.
I'll read out, sir.
Yeah, you just read out, sir.
Second, sir. For the purpose of subclass of class of subsection of section 141, a person whose relative or partner is indebted to the company or its subsidiary, or its holding or associate company or a subsidiary of such holding company in excess of rupees 5 lakh shall not be eligible for appointment.
Okay, what is the question?
What is the question from their side, sir?
See, that 1,000 rupees is still there. Let us be very, very clear. As far as bank audit is concerned, leave alone the 141, etc. As far as the bank audit is concerned, even 1,000 rupees debt is there, you are not eligible for audit. That's all.
After how many years a new participating chartered accountant shall get statutory bank audit, sir.
See, nowadays it's becoming very, very difficult because number of branches coming out. In fact, I have been addressing crowds for more than 25 years now. I have been saying the last 10 to 12 years, anytime the bank audit will go. Literally, it has happened over a period of last 5-6 years. Number of branches which is subject to audit has come down drastically because earlier less than 3 crores also were covered under audit. Subsequently, they said more than 3 crores only will come under audit. Now it is more than 20 crores only is liable for audit. Actually, the RBI was planning to increase it to 100 crores. Institute has gone represented and ensured that it is not going to be changed. Then they made it as 20 crores. Less than 20 crores branches, they are not at all picking up for audit. So in that situation, the chartered account fraternity is so much in number. So you will not be able to get the audit, particularly the proprietors may not be able to get an audit. But once you get empaneled with the Institute of Chartered of India, down the line over a period of say 6 years or 7 years, by virtue of some experience, by way of some other concurrents, etc., you may be graded up. But I'm not
Sir,
sure whether the proprietors will
Sir,
be
the
eligible
question
for
from CA, sir, this is a question from CA Gayatri, sir. Can we accept only branch audit of only one bank, or it is allowed other banks to accept?
only one bank, one nationalized bank. I'm talking
One
one
nationalized
nationalized bank. One nationalized bank. You can
We
take
can accept
a number of
other
private banks.
private banks, no, sir.
Only one bank. Private banks you can take. KVB you can take, and DBS you can take, Nedangadi Bank. All these banks you can take. There is no problem.
Okay.
Nationalized
The
bank
other-
you can take only one bank.
Sir, another question is from Harigaran Tangavelu. What about the credit card? Is it treated as a debt for this purpose?
Yeah, I explained at that time itself. Credit card is not considered as a debt, but if the credit card is overdue, it will become a debt.
And also he's added with that question whether the 1,000 rupees is still there. Somewhere I read it for 5 lakhs.
No, that's what the first question is. Section 141 says 5 lakhs. That is not having any relevance. Bank audit is 1,000 rupees only. Still, it is there.
Holding 200 shares of any bank disqualification from accepting the branch audit.
Even one share, if you hold, you are not eligible for it.
I think
So the next question is, in case of NPA, what we need to be verified? Please elaborate.
Beautiful. Excellent question. I wanted this question to happen because very many situations, once an account is becoming NPA, people do not verify at all. It's very, very dangerous.
this is Vijay and VP, sir. After how many years a new practicing chartered accountant shall get the statutory bank audit?
I explained that already. I'm not sure that how long it will take because proprietors do not get any audit at all nowadays. So there is no linking between this and that. But at the same time, you get qualified over a period of time by doing other bank audits, concurrent audits, etc. By virtue of those experiences, you may get. We cannot say because number of branch audits have gone down very bad. But let me answer the other question of this NPA. Somebody has raised a question, very, very important question. In NPA, what do you verify? There are lots of items which you can do the verification in the NPA. Example, I'm telling you. An account has become an NPA in 2016 itself. It would have become a provision, it would have become a substandard, it would have been doubtful, whatever it is. Provision is 100% made. But at the same time, this NPA is compelled to be written off itself. Or the NPA, the branch would have taken the legal suit and they would have got a decree also. But the decree would not have been implemented by the branch. So there is a question in the long form audit report, wherever a decree has been obtained, whether the branch has implemented the decree or not. That's a question. I have to respond to that. The other item is, as far as NPAs are concerned, don't presume that once an account is becoming NPA, nothing is recoverable, which is not the case. Because there are lots of technical NPAs are there. What do you mean by technical NPA? An account will not become an NPA only because it is 90 days due or whatever it is. It can become a technical NPA because the limit has not been renewed in a time. Stock statement is not obtained in time. Stock statement is not obtained for more than 3 years. That also become an NPA. There is a small overdue. That is only 4th installment is overdue, not more than that. In those cases, once the arrears is fully cleared, it becomes a performing. So there is every possibility an account of NPA can become a performing asset, number one. Number two, and every possibility of a normal NPA can be written off itself in the first day itself because the party would have died. Party would have expired. In that situation, there is no point in keeping that account in the NPA at all. It should be written off. Of course, the branch is not eligible to write off. it has to be recommended by you in the long form audit report, because that particular borrower is not at all there. It is nothing is recoverable, no money is required. It has to be written off over a period of time. They will take a head office in the circle. And suit filed cases, we are supposed to examine what is the status of the suit file, and we are supposed to give a report on what is the suit file status, etc. And in the NPA, there is also every possibility, even in case of an NPA, the insurance, etc., to be renewed regularly. Because in case of a CC account where the stock is hypothecated, NPA has to be there. So fourth item, important item, the NPAs would have gone to DRT. We have to, I will not see DRT, NCLT. So when it has gone for NCLT, we should examine whether our name is included in the list of claimants that we are supposed to give a report in the long form audit report. So just becoming an NPA and provision is made, it is not required to close our eyes and leave it like that. We have to examine more of that. Any other questions?
Sir, Meenakshi Ramaya, suppose land document not available for agri gold loan, does it go only for reporting or any impact on classification of NPA? It relating to another agri loan also. In case of any agri gold loans, normally the loan account is getting closed by entry of through SB account and open a new loan account without actual cash movement. Is it treated as NPA? In addition, these accounts are given interest subvention also.
Three questions are there. First is regarding the land document. You have the authority to classify as non-agricultural loans. But if they have sufficient other information without the land document, the chitta adangal, etc., if they are maintaining, then you can leave it like that. We will have to give in the long form audit report only. But as a professional skepticism, I would like to mention that it is a non-agricultural loan, so it is not eligible for all these benefits. Once you give that and say that you are going to classify it by some hook or group, they will get the document. Second, regarding that account credited, SB account credited, you can't do anything at all. Only thing is, if it is becoming what happens is, the first, that is in the existing loan is there. If it becomes an NPA and a fresh loan is given, then it is dangerous. But the loan is given and from that account it is getting settled. When the account is in standard only, there is no harm. Third issue, as far as jewel loan is concerned, there might be a situation where it's a systematic fraud which they are doing. The same jewelry, they will only for 1 minute, it may be an unsecured loan. That is the only thing. So it doesn't become a provisioning requirement at all. But you have every authority to report that there is a possibility of window dressing by existing loan being adjusted. But when they do the adjustment, please ensure documents are verified. The reason is, invariably, the party doesn't come at all. These people themselves prepare a note, take that and put a fresh document. That is going to be done. If that situation happens, the client can go and say that the account is time barred and they will not be eligible for claim at all. There's every possibility. But what happens is nowadays is, whenever the jewel loan goes beyond this 3 years or 4 years, they put an auction straight away nowadays. Nowadays, the banks are also not taking that risk. And what will happen in case of agriculture term loan beyond 2 years? That the NPA itself will come only after 2 crop seasons. So whenever a jewel loan is given, as on 31st of March 23, if a jewel loan is given up to 2022, normal jewel loan, it will not become a non-performing asset. So 31/3/2020, before that, if a loan has been given, there is every possibility that it will become an NPA. So the date of sanction is very, very important. Please ensure that when you take down the standard sheets, you please examine the date of sanction.
Sir, it is the Deepa Pandya. A separate certificate needed for separate UDN. Please confirm, sir.
No. For one branch, one assignment only, except for tax audit.
In the branch audit, while going through the agri gold loan, while renewal of these loans, I have just a minute. So that question is gone, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one more question from Mr. Ajay, sir. Sir, why can't a bank software engineer generate Excel report even in the day and age? It takes a good deal of time for us to just get the report and convert into usable format for doing further analysis.
See, the branches are not willing to support you in any manner other than what they are supposed to do. They will not do anything because they will say that information technology person is not there. They will not be able to get all these things. It's only in the matter of your public relations skill. You have to ask them to convert and keep it, but they will not do it on a daily basis because they are not required to. They are required to maintain only in the format they want. For our purpose, for analysis requirement, you can convert it to Excel sheet and use it. That's all.
Another question from Sri Harsha Brahmadevara.
Mhm.
In a branch audit, while going through the agri gold loans, while renewal of these loans, I have observed there are dubious cash deposits and cash withdrawals just for the sake of renewals. Can I classify them as NPA?
This is what I exactly said. Probably if you have a continuously lot of items, you can go to the respective day book entries and examine if you really have a suspicion. But what happens is this sort of cash deposits and cash withdrawals can happen in case of agriculture also. You can't stop it. But as a professional skepticism, you can give it in the form of a long form audit report if you really have a suspicion. Number one. Second issue, you can go and examine whether cash withdrawal is ahead of deposit or cash deposit is ahead of withdrawal. That you can examine from the sequence of the events. At least for 5 or 6 items, you can pick it up and say that report it and leave it like that. I don't see any provisioning requirement at all to be done but there is a system weakness which is there.
Next question from R. Hariharan Tangavel. Sir, when the tax audit
When the tax audit limit, that is tax audit limit is of no relevance. Tax audit is being taken by the head office in most of the banks. But tax audit is whenever it is applicable for all the banks because any that is interest income is definitely going to be beyond an amount. So definitely that normal tax 44AB report will come to the respective banks. But most of the banks are opting out of tax audit from the branches level.
Next question from CA Manish sir. Do I need to take any impact or take any action of last year MOC while doing current year bank branch audit?
Two things are there. One is there is a question itself which is being asked whether the entries of last year MOC has been recorded in the books of the branch or not. There is a question automatically. So they should have definitely because on 31st of March 2022 when the MOC is given, the MOC entries are passed at the head office. On the next day they reverse it with an instruction to the branch that they have to record it in their books. So the branch is supposed to pass the entry. Has there been passed? There is an answer which is supposed to give it in the log format report or also in the main report. That has to be mentioned, number one. Second issue, whether it is there or not, we are supposed to examine whether that MOC, what has been given by the previous audit, has been implemented or not. Otherwise, we are supposed to give a MOC afresh in this current year.
Sir, what are the precautions that needs to be taken when there is a theft in the branch?
See, it's more of an inspection area. But if there is I'm talking about whether it is theft or robbery, I don't know what he's meaning for. When it is a robbery, it is a public document for which police complaint would have been recorded, all these things. You should record and report it, that's all. If it is a theft, inside the branch or within the branch management, etc., it's once again a fraud activity. I am not supposed to find out whether a fraud has happened or not. If there is a theft which has been recorded in the records, you please ask for the status of the report and give the status of the report. That's all, nothing more can be done. Probably, one word of caution is you can examine the methodology by which the theft has been happening. And if there is a system weakness which is available, you can add value addition by saying that there is a system problem in the branch which can be overcome, recovered.
Sir, the final question is, can you please guide on some basic questions that we have to interact with branch manager?
Everything is important. What is your name? It starts from what is your name and what is your caste, who are all your subordinates, how do you keep the limits, how do you have the keys protected. See, one classic example I will tell you. This is just like that come in one of the State Bank of India branches so many years back. I asked the branch manager to give us access on particular area. He immediately called up one of the clerk and said that he can some report I asked him. He called up for the accountant, one sub-staff there, he came and entered that and went up. Password of the branch manager. So, during the interaction, I was asking the branch manager, what sir, your data entry is doing? Sir, I have been given the branch manager proportion only in the last month, sir, because I'm going to retire in 6 months, sir. They wanted to give a branch manager promotion, so they gave the promotion. I don't know how to use the computer at all. This is not the latest one. This is talking about 15 years back. At that time, I had a suspicion saying that this is going to be a serious problem. I gave in the long form audit report that there is a level of password compromise available. So the management has to be trained in a proper manner as far as information technology is concerned. Fortunately or unfortunately, next to 1 year, there was a fraud in that particular branch. If that same clerk who has done this has withdrawn methodically from inoperative PPF account, he shifted to inoperative SP account, and from the SP accounts, he has withdrawn the money within 1.5 years of that particular branch by utilizing the data, that is password of that particular branch manager who retired fortunately, but subsequently he was held up responsible. They found out. All these frauds will happen and find out within the next 3-4 months. But ultimately, it has happened. Fortunately, I have given a report on that particular item in the law format report without any knowledge. I did not know there is a fraud which is going to happen or not. But the only thing is, I have said that the password compromise is looking as password compromise is happening. It is not advisable. It is having a serious system weakness. I'm talking about 15 years back, not today. So this is one interaction with the branch management, and branch manager said like this. I have recorded it. Nothing else can be done. But this is a very, so you can't have an idealistic question and answer session with the branch management. But important thing is, whatever you found out as a point to be reported, examine and discuss with him. Because today you say that the particular party, the security is not at all available or not at all sufficient. He will come with the valuation report after 15 days. You say that the valuation is not there. He will come with the valuation report. So what are all you are going to give a report, please ensure it is being discussed with them. Without discussion, don't give it us.
Sir, one more question from Kolanjivel. Sir, maintaining bank savings account in SBI PPF deposit from 2010 continuously, is there any restriction in accepting branch statutory audit and or concurrent audit?
Keeping the SB account, PPF account, there is nothing like that. I can have SB account and PPF account with the branch. I don't have a compulsion. Only indebtedness is there. Otherwise, it's not an issue. Indebtedness and shareholding. PPF account and SB account you can do with any other bank. See, then my basic operations still will be coming to a halt. I need not close that account. I am having an SB account or PPF account with any bank. I can do the audit of the bank. There is no complication stuff.
Sir, one more question. Any specific guidelines available from RBI addressing the matter of subsequent events between 31st March and audit date as mentioned regarding NPA classification earlier?
I explained this. RBI has categorically said they have given a direction in the circulars saying that the subsequent event of the balance sheet is of no relevance. The branch manager, they are supposed to, the NPA status has to be obtained on that date only. Even subsequent to that should not be considered at all. They have given I don't have the number immediately. If I get that, I will give the circular reference in the mail subsequently. But there is a circular available. I will note down.
Sir, can we conclude, sir?
I can conclude anytime. I'm supposed to go for a marriage. I am only, since NPA reports are generated or something like some questions are coming.
So I think, sir, thank you, sir. Sir, in SIRC, based on these questions, we may have another separately for the question answer session also we'll consider because a lot of questions are coming from the members. So throughout all classification, appointment and everything. Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing the time with the SIRC. So for the neat and wonderful presentation. So thank you members for all the participants also. So we'll have a second day meeting tomorrow 5 o'clock sharp. So thank you all. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.